fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss that fact, taking big
Breaking news.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Collegiate Esports Commissioners Cup here in Boise, Idaho. The Western Regional Qualifier has been up and running all day long. We've got a great team of people scattered out throughout the building that are ready to bring you all the action of the content. We're going to jump over to the player pit with Septilence and get a hear on what's going on over there.
Hello, everybody. My name is Septilence, and not every great game can happen on stream, so a little bit of them happen here in the player pit. We've got UCLA versus UNLV in the lower bracket map 5 control happening right now. Whichever team loses this, unfortunately, goes home this weekend. It is all on the line right here. Capture the energy and the excitement of how much this can mean to these players.
Thank you so much, Septilence. It looks like great things are going on over there, and a lot of us have been spending all day long here in the building, so we want to take a look outside. We're now going to jump over to Septilence with the weather. Thank you so much, Septilence. I, like many other people here at CECC West, have been inside since about 8 o'clock this morning. It was nice when I was out there, but as of right now, I have no clue what the weather's like. Back to you on the desk, Septilence. All right. I guess that's the weather from Septilence. We've got a couple more reporters scattered out around the building. The first one going to be out on stage, getting a great feel for the competitors and the competitive nature that builds at an in-person event like this. Let's take a look at what Septilence has going on stage. Here on the main stage, we have Hawaii versus Oregon in our first streamed Valorant matchup of the weekend. These players, only some are going to get to play on stage, but when you're up there, it creates a whole new world of nerves, dangers, and new opportunities to take down your opponent. Thank you so much, Septilence, for going out and getting that information of what's happening on stage and letting us know which players and teams are having a good or bad time. So this event's all about at the end of the day is the players that are going to walk away with that first place slot. We're going to jump out to Septilence in the audience, who, if the rumors are true, is about to get some breaking news. It has been chaos here today, Septilence. It has been a very busy day for these players, and Wave Riders from Hawaii are keeping it a very close game on stage, and things are This just in breaking news, we see the University of Hawaii Overwatch team goes 0-2 in pools, and unfortunately I don't think is going to be able to make it into the bracket. Now that's some crazy breaking news. Some of the anchors here are a little more well-versed in our job, and others maybe are a little rustier, a little shakier. We're going to throw it over to one of our first-time broadcasters and get a feel about what he's got and his thoughts on this weekend. From what I understand, we have a correspondent somewhere outside. Apparently, he's running a little bit late. Maybe let's jump over to him and see if he's on his way.
They said look for the Septilence news van. I'm going to be so late. What time is... Oh, my coffee! Oh, come on! Oh, man!
Now, collegiate esports is often a place where legends are forged as these players go head-to-head until there is the best of the best left standing. Now, we've gotten a rumor that a pro player has entered the building, and we've got a correspondent with a little more information on that. Septilence, take it away.
You know, I didn't think it was going to be easy, but it was a lot harder than I expected. When you arrive to a somebody named Septilence tournament, you don't think there's going to be a full bracket, but a win is a win, you know what I mean? I'm pretty excited to be taking this baby home.
Now, our team of correspondents was spread throughout the building, but due to the fact there's only so many of us,
We're at the Collegiate Esports Commissioners Cup. Let's make some noise.
Oh, and it's
going to be
what? Corner judges go for 1, 2, yes, he needs more. And
They're doing even more here. You gotta touch the point. Mr. Collins walks it in.
Toy Boy just gonna drop.
Knife him.
Right out front.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, running.
Night of college esports right here on EsportsU Live. Of course, I'm your hype man, Paulie Hype host, hype man, a little bit of each, and I am here to welcome you in to tonight's action. We have a very special event this evening as we are going back over to Fortnite for the Campus Cup. Tonight we have warm-up heat number 1, which is going to be for $250 prize pool. Woo! It's a Monday night, but you gotta love when there's money on the line in college esports, which is amazing to see. I'm so excited for this. We're going to have 3 different heats here for this Campus Cup. We have the Heat 1 on the 10th. We have Heat number 2, or warm-up number 2, if you will, on the 17th of April. And that will combine to a Campus Cup Grand Finals, which will take place for $2,000 prize pool, and that will be on April 24th. So instead of the regions this time around, we have one grand tournament going on here for the Campus Cup, and we have 2 commentators tonight that are going to bring in all the action. So without further ado, we've got Captain Atsoka on the line and Catinator 3K. We got the big boys in the building. Woo! It's time. Monday night college esports. 10 seconds of hype, baby. You already know what the deal is. Get this off me. Get this jacket off me. Gamers don't even like suits, and neither do I. Woo, woo, woo! Catinator, Captain Atsoka, bring us in for this warm-up number 1 right here at the Campus Cup. I'll be tuning in the chat, and I can't wait to see it. Casters, over to you.
Thank you very much, Paulie, and we needed every little bit of that hype because, ladies and gentlemen, EsportsU Campus Cup is back. We're coming around for round number 2, and this time, Captain Atsoka, it's gonna be big. As Paulie mentioned, it's warm-up number 1, followed, of course, by a second warm-up in 1 week's time, and then the real deal, all for 2K, but the action kicks off today. I'm Catinator, that's Atsoka. What's going on, my man?
Yep, nothing much. Just getting ready to watch some of this Fortnite action, and it is going to be a doozy. 1, because we got some of the best players in collegiate esports. That's number 1. Number 2 is because we're going to have multiple heats throughout the entire series. You know, when we're talking about Fortnite, it's not just going to be, oh, you win a match here, you win a match there, and you're donezo. No, you have got to be consistent. Consistency is key. So we're going to have to see which some of these players can have a pop-off game. Great, fantastic. But how many of them, in fact, can at least place somewhere within that top 5 time and time again? That's where we're going to separate the weak from the chap and the better from the best, and I cannot wait to get into it.
Yeah, I think we have a fantastic format lined down in front of us. Gives a lot of room for comeback opportunity. Just 1 point for these duos when it comes to eliminations. Only 16 maximum points for eliminations. So there's going to be a lot more room in terms of placement, right? The first thing we look at when it comes to these big port formats is going to be how many points you get for a win. How many points can you get maximum per elimination? So the number is 16 max for eliminations, 25 for winning the game. So there's more value in this point format when it comes to survivability. To break even, you're looking at a top 5 finish. That's 17 points. That's more than each kill, right? So we're looking at duos that are trying to survive for a long time here, which I think is going to make things very interesting.
Oh, absolutely. And now to say that it does give survivability a little bit more of a threshold, it definitely does. I mean, we're talking about the longevity of your, I guess, life in this Fortnite heat. But with that being said, you could still frag out. I'll be completely honest. Like, fragging out is like my favorite thing about watching these battle royales. It's my favorite thing about Fortnite. By all means, go bonkers. I want to encourage every player here tonight to go absolutely insane on the sticks, go cracked, get the headshots and rein it in. But just know once you hit 16, you can coast. You could take it easy a bit, and you can still go for the victory royale. So with that being said, like 16, what is that still like almost, that's over half the lobby. So you can still Thanos snap half the lobby out of existence and still have yourself a good day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the fact that you can still snap the lobby gives room for those comebacks, as we mentioned at the very top of the show. And talk about what players are playing for here tonight. 250 on both of these warm-up 4 heat sessions. This one, the winner walking away with 150, split between the duo. Second place going to walk around with 50 each. So a bit of money up for grabs, a bit of bragging rights perhaps going into the next warm-up. And the most important thing, I think, going into these warm-ups when we talk about the fact there's a finals 2 weeks away is the fact that you come in here, you frag out a little bit, as you mentioned, you claim that drop spot, things look very, very good for you moving forward.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, when it comes to like claiming your POI, your point of interest, it gets pretty competitive because they got so many players that are going to be going for the hot spots. And you know what, Catinator, I got to pick your analytical brain just a moment. I need to know, coming around this season, what is the meta POI? Where are you expecting a lot of these players to drop?
Let me change one letter, and I'll give you the answer. Forget meta, take the T away, put in the G, you're going to Mega City. Every time. It has the most chest spawns in POI history. If you claim Mega City, you are claiming all the loot on the map, and the game's basically already over.
As you can see, actually moving underway here in Heat 1. They're beginning to drop in, so let's see where the
Look where they're
going to be.
That is 3 duo city. We'll see if they get a little bit farther, maybe out to Kenjutsu. About a lobby count of a couple less players. The fact that everyone realistically here at Soka could get, which gives a lot of room for extra loot, room for mats going into fights, and that looks like it's going to be the vibe here. So we've got what is 26 players, 13 duos. There's more than enough POIs to go around. You know, share the love just a little bit, and then you combine the fact that you can split a couple POIs for extra loot. Hell, you can even grab enough loot off of POI, so everyone should be pretty kitted up here. It's going to make the fights in the mid game pretty interesting.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, that is really what is a telltale sign here, is the fact that you really can spread out and you're not going to have to worry about a lot of contention. But at the same time, you have to take into consideration what you're giving away. I mean, you're not forced to go to Mega City, right? But at the same time, are you willing to give it up to another team? That's the question.
And we'll get the question of who's giving up Slappy Shores when it comes to Heat number 2 as already. The beginning of this one, we're going to be looking at 2 teams came to the same POI, both had the same idea. Great minds think alike, but only one of these duos can make it out alive.
Yeah, and SkySpark actually coming from St. Ambrose University with their duo, trying to hold it down for their university. As you can see, they are having a little bit of contention here on their spot. It is going to be a 2v2 showdown here on Slappy Shores. Meanwhile, you're kind of looking at SkySpark right there, and they don't have the worst starting kit I've ever seen. It's not the worst drop, but at the same time, you know, all it's going to really take is one decent loadout to take Slappy Shores for their squad.
I feel like that they grabbed all the barrels early here, kind of boxed themselves in to be able to get the map farm when it comes to the building, but also be able to grab themselves the free shield without having to use those shield pots just yet. They're still going to have all the extra health going into this fight. A little bit of AR spray coming down early onto Alex. Plenty of health to work with here. Chilling right now. It's a feeling out process. Both players going to look for some sorts of tags when it comes to these duos. They can find big tags. They got room to work with. Alex looking to grab this slurp truck. Gonna fuel up the rest of that shield, and pretty even when it comes to that fight.
Yeah, and you got a ZZZ Alex from Florida Atlantic University and David from the University at Albany. So again, a lot on the line for these students as they're trying to represent not only themselves but their universities as well. And you can see already SkySpark going to be taken to the top here and has at least a decent loadout. I mean, you're looking at that jug, that keg, and it's definitely going to give them a lot of shields, especially considering that they're already on 92. Like you said, they were destroying so many of those kegs earlier just to really stock up on the armor, and now they have one in their back pocket as well. So I'm not sure at the moment when the first strike will be dealt, and right now it's really just a lot of farming and resources.
Yeah, they've done a good job of kind of the unspoken rule when you've got another team on your POI of if you don't have a big laser, there's really no reason to fight this. This is plenty big in terms of POI that both of these duos are more than capable of sticking to their hats, which they have right now, grabbing independent loot and just walking away. They don't necessarily have to fight this. You know, it's always good to make the staple early that we talk about claiming the POI. So if you really want to ego it, there's room to fight here, but they both are pretty decently kitted. They could walk away.
Yeah, at the same time, you know, I definitely like my rifles, but I like my rifles blue. The green rifles, I don't know. You can probably get a lot done, only assuming that your opponent also has the green rifle. But meanwhile, it looks as though that a third party might be soon underway as well. As you can see, Javi Santi going to be making their way in, and now they are stuck in between 2 teams here. SkySpark is not looking any good right now. This is a tough spot.
I like the idea for SkySpark there. Try to sit on the top of the building to get just a couple tags early to make that fight look winnable. Unfortunately, got caught instead, but still chilling. Teammates going to be here. They've got back to height now. They've got room onto this fight. That big low ground shot's going to come through, build up on its way. Lots of early mats farmed for this duo that's on the low ground right now. Should have a lot of room to work with in this build battle. If you're the top team, you got to be thinking about the mat count and not walking up too far in this way. You notice now, trying to contain this team, beat the pieces, keep them down. Big shots coming on to SkySpark, an edit from David, and that will seal the deal. That's the both duos done away. It's 2 independent 1v1s at the same time, and both of them will go the way of David and Alex.
Yeah, that it will. And it really did look like, again, Javi Santi just coming out of nowhere, I guess trying to look for an easy elimination point, but instead was able to find the duo of David and Z Alex. And I don't think it went the way they thought it would, but we're going to be checking back in with High Ground and Company, as you can see. With those eliminations, there are now 2 less people on the board, and here comes another push and another opportunity to get some elimination points, and down they go. There's going to be 1 more for the scoreboard.
The mouse trap set up and the bait taken by Pace University's very own. That leads to a free pick early for the second duo in Mega City. Just Poe left now in this one. Reboot cards last forever, so there is room to be able to get this reboot. And Scossamer and Baz, since they are here in Mega City, which is towards the middle of the Chapter 4 Season 2 map, they don't really have a reason to move. They'll look for this elimination, looking for their second point here in this one. Wall looking to be taken. 1 player going to spray, 1 player going to look to take the wall. Haven't been able to get it just yet, but have got damage through. So Poe will get penetrated just a little bit here. Going to look to come down into this metal. Map count clearly getting low because they're on to that most valuable resource. So they look to go to the height now. Down to just about 5 HP. That shot's not going to land from the Havoc. Looking for more as Baz is going to go up towards the top of this one. Onto the rails, down yet again. And that player just barely getting to evade.
Yeah, Baz High Ground already on a fantastic start from Trinity Christian College. So far, so good. But we're also going to be checking in with Haz Bossa, who already does find 1 elimination. And their team already going to put themselves up yet 2 elimination points. And it seems that the eliminations are continuing to flow in as we are getting well and underway here. Only 10 more seconds until the next ranks begins to push.
Here's this other duo. Landed inside of Mega City. Now going to work their way down towards all that noise they heard originally in the fight. We're looking at it from height. We're going to have the Katana into this one, like a Kinetic Blade. Got the rotational tools here, so they're very much queued up for endgame if they like to be. We're watching this fight continue on its way. Pleb trying to grab that wall, gonna get edited instead, and he'll get spanned from the team on top of the building. Didn't see that one coming, and unfortunately will lead to the knock. Zap Game's gonna capitalize, and Medics headed for the hills, just wants to get out of this one. Oh, not quite the aim.
Sorry for Catinator. This does not look good for the notorious 2K and Shallow.
Catching massive strays, and Shallow's catching massive shots from the AR. Looking to push forward, this team gonna fight their way through, just looking to pad the SMG shots on, hoping that the light ammo was enough to push them forward, as David gonna spam them down from the top of the box. Good enough to take out the first. The 2K's fallen. He's been thirsted as well. No revive available. His teammates now gonna connect with him on the low ground, getting all that juicy bush camper loot. See if they're able to go find the duo now.
Yeah, well, you know, they are out there lurking. You don't know where Shallow could be, and that's what makes things interesting. This isn't even the first time that I think David and Alex were able to at least catch 1 elimination and then lost the duo, lost the teammate. But now, check this out. It's going to be Bryce and then Crisp coming in for this third party.
This is the struggle of fighting in what was mid-zone. Players going to rotate in, and players especially love to hear noise and come to it. It is like sounding the alarms. This team shooting, getting both those kills on that last duo, have now brought in another. But if you're guys like David and Alex, you've already managed 4 eliminations. You kind of want these teams to come pressure you. The only issue, they're stuck on the low ground right now, trying to fight out of builds that are currently not their own. Fortunately, that team that is on height has shot them out for them. They've gone space now. They've moved out just a little bit. Alex going to opt for the disengage, and David going to follow suit.
Yep, and they're going to try and GTFO now and get out of the way quickly, but they get landed right in the middle of the water, and they are, no pun intended, sitting ducks currently. I mean, they don't really have a lot of building material to work with. They're trying their best to stay alive, but the destruction, as soon as they build something, it gets taken away, and now Alex is the next on the chopping block.
The way they took that fight together from height was so nice from Bryce and Duo. Walk straight in. That first pump shot just wasn't quite enough for Alex, and wasn't expecting the second player to be directly behind him. Bryce gonna head for a swim and will come out with another elimination. So Bryce now going to have 3. His teammate been along for the ride. Was very helpful in securing that second look. Unfortunately, no assist in the game of Fortnite.
And you see, those are some of the most important factors when taking into consideration how these gunfights go. Number one factor, beyond anything else, elevation. High ground priority. We learned it from Obi-Wan Kenobi. You don't want to challenge the high ground. Number two, bush. If you don't have a bush, you got to find for the high ground. Bush tactics, immediately number two, right under high ground.
Interesting tier list. Would be interested to see the community reaction to it. This team that we've seen do pretty well in terms of mid-game fighting now has to work through the outer side of the zone. Unfortunately, zone pull was not in their favor. Making it work right now, though. Yet again, going to fight their way towards a high ground scenario, towards the top of this hill. Only thing is, this is still outside of zone. They've got about 40 more seconds to fight this one out. And Bryce has walked on to the height, has hit a nice shot on the fall. Going to take all these pieces as well as Ku will go under him, looking to find him. Nice shot yet again. That's going to break the shield, looking to get through the wall. And Ku's not building anything. That's cost him his life. He'll fall to the team of Cut and Sap. They actually stole that kill away.
You love to see it. You know, you let somebody else do all the work and you just chime in from afar, and guess what? You're farming some free points now, and you know, you're looking at them across the way, and it looks like they've been there for quite some time, and you know, they're plotting. I mean, you look where the ring is headed and where the storm is going, and they have literally the premier ground. They have the hot spot over there.
Everybody gathering on this hill. I'd love to see a free cam angle of this one. As Sap going to jump with the blade. Will use 2 swipes to get to height. Will it be worth it? As team's going to opt to fight this one. I was hoping he could grab it with no contention, but unfortunately, this is a democracy protest underway. And Sap and Cut going to get back together in the mid-ground.
Yeah, that they are, and you know, they're already trying to challenge high ground. Literally has high ground in their name, and then
everybody had a blade. Everybody who just got knocked down had a blade. Nobody got eliminated by that. That's super silly. They chopped out the entire structure. 3 teams were fighting what was mid-ground. 4 was chopped into what was the pseudo-high ground. Chopped yet again, and it just doesn't matter. All 4 players get out of that one out of dodge. One of these duos, though, certainly will not. Big 144 from Bryce. Second look going to finish it. The Havoc AR combo is clean for their 4th elimination. 6th now on the duo, as the second player will fall as well.
Yeah, and you know, it just goes to show that the kinetic blade is priority loot. You gotta have it on you, especially when you can recharge the charges. You know, you don't use it and it's spent like other, you know, mechanic items in Fortnite's past, like the web shooters. You know, you have a certain amount of charge and then they're gone. With the kinetic blade, at least you can have more than just a set of attempts. You constantly can recharge it and use it again.
Yeah, it's just the only rotational item in the game right now. It's, as you mentioned, a necessity to have if you want to make it on your way in the end game, especially if you want to garner extra eliminations. Gotham are getting absolutely bodied through every brick wall that they lay, almost like they're not there. This team looking for additional eliminations. They'll find one right there. That's 7 for Crisp and Bryce, a duo that we have gotten to follow quite a bit this game because they cannot stop winning fights. Another one on his way.
Yeah, I'm curious to know if David if David is still up in this fight. I can't recall. I think they might have been eliminated, but they were doing fairly well as well. There's one of the other teams that stood out to me, but now you can see, of course, Crisp and Bryce still continuing to do work here, and not only are they managing to stay alive, but they're stacking up eliminations as well. Crisp on YouTube currently sitting on 2 by themselves.
These mythic items, man, they really just put the laser down. They're looking for Curtsy and Sigma now. This team just hoping for the best. Please leave us alone. We just are playing for the end game. Leave 4 duos left in this one. So everyone's hit what we said was the threshold you'd want to reach going into each round. We need to make sure you at least are in the top 5. So everyone has been able to check that box at the very least. But Chris and Bryce, they want to check off the first round victory royale. That's what they're looking for. Going to take extra pieces here, forcing Sigma and Cersei on the back foot. And this is never good. Continuing to back up. Big 200 coming out of Crisp, and his teammate going to finish it off on the other end.
Well, there you go. Crisp now on 3 eliminations. They are doing fantastic, especially when you consider the fact they now are officially in the top 5. You know, they're guaranteeing themselves a nice hefty amount of points, at least 17 on top of those eliminations that they managed to gain. And now you're looking as they are trying to get even more of these elimination points. And unfortunately, they're having a little bit of difficulty staying alive.
Oh, Hasbusa will have the kinetic blade. Going to get out of that one. Chris was looking to shoot him down. It will not matter. This team continuing to put themselves together. Got a new member on height. It'll be Sap. Trying to see what they can find. A little poke and prod as this team's doing a great job of staying together. They're going to opt to go to the mid ground here. Not going to fight for it. Matt's still pretty good when it comes to this duo. They now push their way forward in the rotation. Cut trying to cut them off. Living up to his name there in that one. That'll leave Bryce to blade to height. Going to take the space. Shot not quite to land, but the AR is going to come through for damage. Bryce running and gunning his way up onto this one. Gonna try to take height early. Gets knocked out. Is able to safely get back to the mid ground though. Teammate continuing the rotation and finding frags. They'll take height instead in their place as his duo's been phenomenal all game. Another big shot coming out of Chris. Cut finally shut down and his teammate yet again to finish the job. Sap will fall. It's victory royale for the likes of Bryce and Chris.
Oh, and that was actually a fantastic heat coming from that team. Again, not only were they able to frag, I'm pretty sure they top fragged. I mean, let's keep it a $150. They, without a doubt, had the most eliminations on top of getting the victory royale. So that's already an additional 25 points just for the victory royale on its own. So they should have a commanding lead over the rest of the lobby. But keep in mind, that's just heat number 1. We still got more to go.
Yeah, we've got more to go. 3 more heats to go, in fact. And when it comes down to it, I think that team has 11 elimination points coming out of that game, minus the fact they've got 25 for the victory royale. So that's going to be a big jump on this leaderboard. As we said, though, there's a lot of room with that 16 elimination points. There's a lot of room in the 25 points for the victory royale. And we saw some teams really take a run to them, right? But when it came to those mid-round fights, no team was better than these guys.
Oh, absolutely not. But with that being said, we are going to be going to our first break of the evening. But when we come back, we are going to come back to more Fortnite action right here on EsportsU. So do not go anywhere.
Has to offer. Now remember, the Collegiate Esport Commissioners Cup is in Arlington, Texas later this year, and if you want to keep an eye on that, be sure to follow EsportsU on all of their social media, all of their channels, including Twitch and Twitter, to stay up to date with what we have to offer. Thank you so much for joining me and my correspondents, and we'll see you in the next one. Okay, I see CC West. Septulence is in the audience. Septulence is in the pit. Septulence is outside. Septulence is lost. Septulence is sleeping. We gotta get more people on this team. That's crazy. Oh wow. Just event of all of these, the massive. Nope, I hate it. Oh my god. Okay. Thin and not. Nope, I hate it. Sorry. Commissioner. Nope. Screwed it up. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back for week number 4 of the ECAC Top 8 Plays of the Week. Now, at this point, you're probably realizing 2 things. 1, that's right, I'm going to be with you all season long as we jump through the best moments of every week. And number 2, wow, Septulence really only wears one thing when he's not on the clock. And I can't even defend myself. It's a comfortable outfit. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump into week number 4 and see what these players brought to the table to beat out their opponents and be victorious. Wake Forest was already up a game, there were 4 minutes left on the clock, and they just couldn't find that first point to take the lead and put them up 2-0 in the series. But in a final moment of success, Malone clears it from one coast to another and finds an open goal, giving Wake Forest the lead once again.
These Champ 3 and Champ 2 is doing. I mean, seriously, look at Malone making advantages for himself.
Wow.
And he will put Wake Forest on the map. This game number 5 could just go their way.
I just want to say Malone just said, I'm going to show you what a Champ 3 can do. All right, buddy?
On a control map in Overwatch, your team must capture 100% of a point to succeed. 99 just won't cut it. King Rock from Keene University was fully aware of that and didn't just find a Death Blossom. He found a full-blown Death Garden to keep his team alive.
Sound barrier to go away as well, especially now that you have your own. It's going to be a little bit more breathing room. Doesn't look like the one. Okay, there we are. Now it's coming up big. This Reaper has bloomed.
That was just gorgeous amount of patience coming.
GVSU Blue found themselves up by 5 rounds, and it's always better to turn that 5 into a 6. It's incredible, however, that this team doesn't always need all 5. It can come down to just one player and how much they can really GVS do.
An Illusion delivers with efficiency. 3 in a row. No time left, even if they had the chance. An orbital strike out of the last.
This battle between Muskingum and St. Francis was insanely close. Only 3 players in a round, and there were 1 player left on both sides, both down to their final stock. Things were looking pretty strong for St. Francis. Their Luigi only at 40%, but it was up to Splat to do anything but.
There. Just keep him off stage with that Zaire. Oh!
If
that spot
didn't-
right here
if
for
that-
Teo.
If that block didn't disappear,
Oh!
No way.
Oh! Just steps on the
pressure plate.
A tale as old as time, Pace White versus Pace Gold, and Pace White's morale was through the roof as they won a fight, but little did they know, this was Lofi's world, and they wouldn't be living in it for much longer.
Going in with the blade.
Uh-oh, Blade is out. It's hacked. It doesn't matter, though. Slashes away for 2. Looking for a 3rd. Looking for 4. Won't get it just yet on the Blade. However, the slash and dash works out. Lofi's got 3. Looking for everybody else on this team. It's a white.
The Inkling versus Ganondorf matchup is not very good for Ganondorf, but let's be honest, which matchups are? In this clip we're going to be watching as JD from Fisher learns the hard way that you never really want to meet an Inkling off stage.
Sooner if you don't find that kill confirm or that kill or a bomb off stage like that.
That
Caduceus
bomb
edge
angle.
guarding is so good today.
Yeah, that bomb angle was beautiful.
Week 4 of ECAC Rocket League was absolutely insane. CMU and FC were tied up 0-0, but it was Gand who told FC they shall not pass game number 2.
Side of FC, they've only got 1 player for a moment there. They're trying to recollect, they're trying to reposition, but how do you position around a pinpoint accurate shot like this? Gand goes crossbar down for the first goal.
Adams in reverse, backed the defense off with that.
Whenever I'm on the mic for Valorant, you'll often hear the line, check your corners, repeated over and over and over again. And even with me not on the mic to tell them, I have a feeling this team may have learned that lesson.
Nah, he's got to take the shot.
Take it.
Oh yeah, just sounds of teammates running on through and come on dive. The 4K on a completely unaware trio. And it's 11-0 right now.
And those are the top 8 moments we thought deserved just a little bit more time in the spotlight of week number 4 here at ECAC. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're interested in what ECAC has going on, we got something happening nearly every day of the week. So check us out right here. Editor, that's a challenge for you. Wink, wink. And folks, this has been all from me. Thank you all so much for watching. Enjoy this, and we've got plenty of weeks down the line. Can't wait to see what comes of them.
https://twitter.com/Septilence. Don't put that in. I'll get in trouble. So that's worth it. Did I get too close to the camera on that one? A little bit too close. Should I back up a little bit? Okay, sorry about that. My bad. I've been awake for probably close to 32 hours. Like, I have to hold my keyboard like the normal way, because if I do it, I feel like I have arthritis and I hold my keyboard like that. It blows my mind. I can never do that. Like, this guy right here, he's got his keyboard like off at an angle. His isn't that extreme. There's a kid all the way down to the far end who has his keyboard all the way at like a horizontal.
That's really cool.
They're gonna be at that table right over there.
Public information?
Oh, I don't know. But this isn't live, so it doesn't matter.
It's not live, but like you and I know.
Yeah, we know.
I'm not gonna tweet it.
Awesome. What game do you play?
Smash Bros.
Who do you play? Is it embarrassing? Is it like Villager?
Yeah.
Is it Villager? Am I spot on? Oh my god. Is it the Ice Climbers?
No.
Is it Game & Watch?
No.
Is it Pichu?
No.
Is it Wario?
No.
I can keep going. I think I can name every character in the game. Is it, did I say the Ice Climbers already?
Welcome and back, one and all, to the EsportsU Campus Cup warm-up number 1. We just got through with heat number 1 of 4. We're on our way into heat number 2, and it was the duo of DSU Crisp and Purdue's Bryce to take down dang near the whole lobby and the 25-point victory royale.
Yeah, they have a pretty astounding lead right now. If I'm not mistaken, but I often am because captain be capping, but I'm pretty sure they're sitting at the top right now with about 36 points total after round number 1, getting 11 eliminations and, of course, the 25-point victory royale, if I'm not mistaken. Caster math be something serious sometimes.
So real.
Yeah, you get it right sometimes, other times you get it wrong, but it's okay. We're not math magicians. We're just casters. But with that being said, we are well and underway here in heat number 2, and I got to ask you, Cadenator, I'm curious. Now that these POIs have somewhat been established, I rarely see a change. I rarely see them go to someplace else after, you know, their first initial heat. Usually their POI is the one they stick with. But with that being said, with some of those duos, those 2v2s that we've seen where 2 teams drop in the same spot, do you think maybe the losing team from heat 1 is going to pick a different place, or are they going to ego challenge them and try and get some revenge?
This is a phenomenal question. If the Observer team could throw us over to Slappy Shores just for a little minute, the one POI we did see get double contested early last heat. Interested to see if that is a competition yet again. It was Alex and David, one that went out by a pretty steady margin. And I imagine that team is probably the only team at Slappy now. And that is not the case. They're back. They want that revenge.
I honestly figured as much, just because this is usually how it goes. Look, I don't write the script, okay? I just read it. Whenever you see a team that unfortunately goes down on their POI, they are not likely to give it up, no matter who's there.
I actually lied to you.
You did?
Now, Cat also be capping. Well,
okay.
hey, Alex has the wrong arrow color, just so I would have to be wrong. They actually did win the POI and are the only team.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to the Free Cam Observer for letting me correct myself.
Okay, I was fitting to say.
Look kind of empty, Cadenator. Are you sure? Are you sure it's OTV?
All right, so the other team has, a matter of fact, backed off. They're just going to allow Alex to have this one. Okay, fair enough. Because I'll be honest, it's rare that you see a team really forfeit a POI. Usually when they pick their POI, they tend to stick to it. But at the same time, when you know that you're going up against literally the number 1 team right now, they hold first place, you might want to try and re-strategize and play a better safe than sorry approach.
Now that we've got the update here, would it be so much to ask to see how Mega City's holding up? We for sure saw 2 duos there. I think a lot of duos had the initial thought of let's go to the POIs immediately outside of Mega City. So let's go to Lake, let's go on Jump Split, let's go possibly to Steamy, and then rotate in to Mega City. So we saw 3 or 4 teams be there pretty late into heat number 1. But I imagine that we probably see less contact there just because it led to Bryce and Chris cleanup season.
Yeah, and you know what? I was capping again. I don't know why I thought Bryce was over there on Slappy. I just got lost in the sauce there. So obsessed with that contention on Slappy. Bryce, of course, Bryce and company are currently in the number 1 spot with their respective 36 points on the board. And, you know, right now they are at Brutal Bastion. And if I'm not mistaken, was this their original POI in heat number 1 as well?
No clue.
No clue. All right. Regardless, they should have more than enough to hold their own. We've already seen that they could do a lot with a little, so I am not worried for this team whatsoever.
Yeah, neither am I. This team, phenomenal when it comes to mid-game fighting, and that actually makes a lot of sense coming from a smaller POI. That creates the opportunity to go look to fight in the mid-game. They're a team that clearly is experienced when it comes to playing with slightly limited weaponry coming out of their POI and being able to confidently win in the mid game to garner that extra loot. So it makes sense that team was so successful in doing so. It seems Vega's a lot more calm early in the game. When we first got over here, we got in at about second circle opening, and there was 3 teams already in the fight. Yet again, though, these teams have rotated. You'll see 3 teams on your minimap.
Yeah, and you know what? I feel like these teams, for the most part, have just kind of divided up Mega City. You know, you got one team that says, okay, we'll take the south, you take the north, and then, you know, one of your other teams can go east or west. Doesn't really matter. And you know, right now it's just kind of the calm before the storm, because, you know, eventually all three of these teams are going to zero in on one another. And you can already see right now, it looks as though Po5 is plotting.
All right, so plotting indeed. See if they're able to catch anything early. They've got a art on the exterior of the building, kind of able to scope this one out to give post some opportunities. But both of them going to reconvene now on the top of these buildings. We'll see if the contact comes through. Mega City is just so large that there's a lot of room for these teams to play around. Scosmer and Baz up to the shenanigans. They've seen Poe when it comes to the inner building bridge. Has Poe seen them? Sees Scosmer, you can tell. Has seen one, doesn't know though about the player who is behind this reboot van. Poe's gonna look for this laser. This is such a smart play. Is reading into the cheeky nature of this duo. Gonna build now, gonna give the position away with a big laser onto Scosmer. Now the kinetic blade to try to get into that box. Teammate gonna reveal themselves now. Poe's got the opening gap, but they've traded it back pretty quickly into just the wood brick. Pace going to be here as we get the split screen now. Both teams will start the healing process. One on low, that's going to be Baz and the Scosmer duo, who were initially looking for the early pickings, couldn't quite find it, giving room for Pace University's duo to really shine here as they look to push in that low ground. Double edit gonna come through, not on time though. Pace gonna grab that wall quickly, allowing himself the chance to rotate. Can't quite get the roof though, so isn't able to head it back down. That'll stall the fight for a moment.
Yeah, and it's ironic to see that Bass high ground fighting from the low ground. Currently, Pace going to be trying to take the utmost advantage here to get some pretty heavy hitters out early. You got to remember, Saucimer and high ground were popping off a lot there in the first round and were able to come down with several eliminations. So if they're able to come through on top, literally and figuratively, in this 2v2, then they are going to position themselves well into the scoreboard here. But you can see already, Art is the first one to get knocked.
Very nice from Scosmer and Baz on the low ground. One player holding that wall, allowing for shots to come through for the other. It's led them to their first elimination. That's it for Poe. Gonna take the kinetic blade and we'll head away just a moment. See if they want to come back and try to grab a reboot card later, as hey, Rico and Dark, they've rotated into Mega City for the first time. We didn't see them in round number 1.
Well, let's see. I mean, it looks as though they're kind of scavenging right now, trying to pick apart the pieces there and maybe find some easy eliminations. But doesn't look like it's going to be that easy. You have to keep in mind that those players are going to be healed up nice and well by this point. As we make our way back to Crisp on YouTube, this is another familiar face that we remember from round number 1. They played exceptionally well as of course, Bryce. And we'll see if they're going to be able to try and even equalize against Bryce's team as they look to pile on some eliminations here.
This team has been cruising. One game won by heavy margins. It's looking to continue the winning ways. Alex and David were able to ego for their spot early into this game after game number 1 successfully winning that fight. But can they win in the mid game? Talked about how this is a team that we know is capable of shining there based off of the POI on Bastion, on those icy hills. Can they do so again? Bryce will be on the early contact, spamming up. Was hoping to read that edit, couldn't quite get it through the pieces, so going to go for a new angle. Come up here into this metal. I feel like this team of David and Alex inside are running out of mats quickly as continual pressure. There's so much light ammo in the SMGs here. Chris and Bryce can spam out these mats forever.
Yep, that they can, and you know, they're really quick on the build too, so you know, they can really last as long as they want to when it comes to these gunfights. Now they do have the high ground. You can see Crisp on YouTube trying to just eat away at the fortifications that David has managed to set up, but it's not going to be doing them much good here, as you can already see that, you know, Crisp on YouTube doing a fantastic job of maintaining that high ground. All the while you got Bryce trying to work their way in from the outside.
Yet again, this team's just going to continue to spam, and look at those pieces. They slowly start to work down. It's 30 total for Alex on the foreground of this duo right now. They continue to bunker in. Both pieces getting spammed through. Player on the roof now. Things getting awkward. Nowhere else to run. You're onto the natural ground. Out of your own build as Alex looking to head away. Is going to reuse, recycle just a little bit. What's been previously built. That's going to save a couple mats. Big shot. David catching damage there. Down to just 2 HP. Trying to sneak away. It gets so difficult when you're on that hill. When it's not leveled, so hard to be able to build yourself out of a hole. Has done so right now though. Has found those mini shields, has got some room, gonna link back up with the teammate, but all the control in the world in the previous Heat 1 winners.
And right now you can see David and company are running out of resources. They only have the minis left. They don't really have a lot of building material to work with here. And they are down on the foundation, the ground floor. As you can see, the push now being made by Bryce and Crisp on YouTube. And you only wonder it's a matter of time before another team gets wind of this action and begins to move their way in for a third party.
There's a team decently close on what is currently the north. We'll see if they come down to this one. Starting that movement, should actually hear the gunshots of this one here. All the action right now directly onto our screens. This team somehow still has materials. Bryce pretty low as well. Crisp hasn't really built much into this fight. But in the instances where Bryce has pushed through on that high ground, has expended a decent amount of mats in terms of trying to take pieces away. David and Alex might be thinking about the disengage, trying to walk out of the back end of this one. And shots finally going to come from the hill. I like this play a lot from Cut and Duo. Recognition of, we hear this team fighting. Rather than let's go fight them, let's sit on the edge of the zone pole. Guarantee that we've got a little bit of extra space. And we can just AR spray both these teams. So both of them going to come out with low mats, lower health. And we can guarantee easy pickings rather than taking any chances in a fight.
Yeah, I mean, there's no big surprise there. That's just a good old-fashioned edge guard, and you love to see it. And they're going to be gatekeeping as the storm, you can clearly see, is going to be moving in. Only 20 seconds now until it is fully circumferenced Bryce in their fortification. So they're going to have to be dealing with a lot of that damage. Even though it's only round 3, they can survive it for long. But like you said, they used a lot of their heals and shields in that previous firefight they were having with David.
Here's a team that we haven't actually gotten to see on the monitors just yet. Medics and Pleb working their way out of Frenzy. Got a team directly on their heels, and I mean directly on their heels. Don't know if they know about it just yet, but they're going to find out.
Yep, that they are, and you know, I'm pretty sure that they have at least a decent amount of materials. I mean, you're looking at the count that they have right now. They should be more than suited to handle this firefight, and they are already. The turnaround is underway for medics. They know full and well that they are being flanked by Skosimer. Keep in mind, this is the team that is not shy of engaging in these firefights and stacking up their EP.
The team who looked to rat in Mega City were able to knock one before the opposing player had no choice but to run away. Yet again, are the Rats in this scenario, chasing down Pleb and Medics in Frenzy and looking to make all the action happen when it comes to the farm. Great stare at it for Medics, trying to stay alive. You're caught in the grinder right now as additional teams looking to come into this fight. Another team's outside of zone right now, has no choice in the next 30 but to work their way into what is this already off the edge of storm fight. This Medics looking to push forward, does manage to grab a wall, not the wall needed though. Dark will change boxes just in time. He's gone to hide as well. This will make this awkward for him to find. And that player does manage, that duo, excuse me, manages to escape out of that one. Teammate has relocated.
Yeah, and now you can see right now, Medics quite literally stuck between a rock and a hard place. But take a look at this. You will see Dark does go down and will be eliminated. And it will be Pleb to get yet another point on the scoreboard, getting their first elimination here of round 2.
Here's that additional team working their way now on the top of the barn, and Hey Rico, very low HP. Skosimer and Braz, this duo's done a great job of meshing together like glue to try to find these 1v2 situations. They're doing so yet again as Pleb's gonna try to play spoiler into this one. Him and Medics to push forward. Medics onto Baz has forced him to go to the low ground as Hey Rico's kind of gotten to chill. These two duos have gotten lost up in one another trying to take this fight. The Hey Rico's walked away and is actually able to start healing up. Doesn't have white heals though. He's gonna be stuck on just shield. Does give an opportunity to get back into the fight, though, as down to low will go. Pleb and Medics have a massive advantage in this one. Just need a wall, or maybe not. And it's going to come through in full advantage. Taken for Pleb, a big 150. Low HP is Gossamer as the shield break comes through. Looking to force his way in. Going to use an actual cover to sneak around. Back into taking pieces here. And this is such a hard spot to fight in. These barn walls make it so hard to consistently place pieces, make it hard to edit out of, and they're stuck in a pickle right now. Gossamer and Baz doing a great job of working through it, but for how long can they, as the consistent pressure is on from this duo?
Yeah, absolutely. But I will say that if anybody can do it, it would be Gossamer on high ground. They have gotten themselves out of pretty detrimental positions before, but Gossamer will go down, but not without a trade, as now Medics will go down as well. And once again, Baz high ground and Gossamer somehow, some way stay alive, but not before another opponent arises. And what looks like a third party will be the end of Baz high ground.
A team that worked so hard to tunnel and turtle their way through the barn, finally caught up and now eliminated. Tazbusa wants to be the player to dominate what is the Turtle Wars fight in Frenzy Field. That's where both these players are. Has a teammate who hasn't quite entered the barn just yet, and we'll just keep spacing. We'll just hold on the exterior for the moment.
Yeah, and you can see Bryce now and company, of course, still holding up within their fortifications, but they're not going to have long before that next storm begins to push in. Only 5 seconds remaining, so regardless, they're going to have to come out from their fortifications, whether they like it or not. Meanwhile, you have Bussa, who is currently, you know, again, on the run, making their way back to Frenzy Fields and making their way far and from it as they try and now outrun the storm. The horses are now off to the races here.
They are, and there's quite a bit of horses in this race. That now solo player of Rico we saw get the free disengage after 2 more duos decided to jump on that fight. He's going to be just on the edge of zone here. There's always that chance for Bryce and Crisp to catch wind. A look on the floating island. A bit of storm holding underway over there. A team that's not even in zone just yet, wanting to grab some free tags, seeing what they can garner. Don't think they actually want to be the big men in this situation to come jump down to take the fight with these guys, and it looks like they are not. So Bryce and Chris get tagged up just a little bit on their rotation, but nonetheless, the 2 homies are fine. They've still managed to work their way into the middle of what is going to be final zone most likely. We'll see where zone pulls, but opting to go to the middle here is the smart play, because look, they're already in zone number 6.
Yeah, and the ring once again going to be making its way towards the northwest. And look at this, you have a shoreline finish. That is going to make things a little interesting. As you can see, these teams are eventually going to run out of ground depending on where the next ring moves. But I always do like a good shoreline skirmish. It's a nice little change of pace, and, you know, it makes things just a little bit more difficult, and it really makes a lot of these firefights just that little bit extra spicy. You'll love to see it.
Yeah, also make the end zone so very difficult if, as you mentioned, the pole goes that way. And yet again, we got the bush campers and the tree toppers. How do you those communities intertwine, Ahsoka?
Yeah, you know, because what is a tree if not an elevated bush?
Biology major Ahsoka stepping in to let us know a little bit about Circle of Life.
Yeah. I'm actually an IDS major, but at the same time, I am a major in bush tactics. I'm a master's degree and a doctorate, PhD in BT bush tactics.
PhD candidate bush camper. Shallow
stuck. Top of my class.
Say you're on the top of the class. Shallow stuck on what is the bottom of the building. And Crisp and Bryce, after a win, after several eliminations, wanting to continue to flex the muscles just a little bit. Slowly taking pieces on the upper echelon here. So what you notice that is they jump through, right? Take all these natural pieces early, make them their own, means they're going to have all that room to edit, all that room to play. And slowly, this team on low ground, while they don't get pressured instantly, right, are slowly losing more and more ground. And now you see it start to come through. Shallow recognizes, says, I need to do something. Takes a shot, gets caught, though, instead. Clip back is Chris, but the teammate Bryce is immediately on the way. A little bait and switch from this duo. Chris was going to try to shoot his teammate in, can't quite get the job done. Was trying to get through that wall, but it's metal, so it takes a little bit of extra shots. Is the difference in the timing there. Instead, they'll head for the vault.
Yep, and rightfully so. They definitely had to fight just to make claim to it, and not only that, they were able to hold their ground yet again. Keep in mind, they have a fantastic lead coming from game number 1, and so far here in game 2, they are looking just as strong, as you can see, to the victor once again. Go of the spoils.
Yep, spoils indeed for Crispin Bryce, a team that don't even need loot to be dominant. Now imagine them with loot in their hands, as EXO was able to survive out of that fight and will most likely be able to pull a Hey Rico moment, a free disengage.
And what's crazy to me is that we've already seen this team. They were literally on the outside of the storm having to fight their way back in, and they were in a worse for wear. They came off of a 2v2. They were being gate kept out of the safe zone, and then you see them really on the back foot, as they had used a lot of their materials and a lot of their heals and shields, and now they managed to recover nicely on the inside of the ring, especially considering that they are only 2 more eliminations away from finding themselves in the top 10. And right now, they are doing absolutely spectacular.
By the time they went and took the vault, a team set up the building on top of them. So this is going to create a very awkward moment. Actually, Notorious lost his teammate early in the turtle. Now is looking to hold Crispin Bryce down. Fortunately for them, they're in zone, so they've got a lot of time to fight their way out of this one. They're also 2 people, which I'd argue is quite helpful. But right now, 2K's got all the pieces. Went and healed when he was off camera, was working, was clerking, and now has this team held down. Looking to take pieces back, has done just that. Has the cone, room to work with all the piece control, but the shots from the low ground will bail Crispin Bryce out the pickle.
Yeah, and that was a close one. Oh,
no,
not the L dance. Oh, my word. It was a good try. Come on, give it to Notorious 2K. They made a solid run. They got 2 eliminations on the board. They nearly, I guess you could say they did finish top 10. Again, I'm looking at the player count. But yeah, so, they finished impressively. It wasn't, especially when you're a teammate down.
Yeah. Incredibly hard after solo, especially in a game mode like this. So that's going to come through. Overclock back out. This time in the hands of Cut and Sap. They're doing damage right now, giving Bryce and Chris a little takes their own medicine. A team that went ballistic in Circle 8 and heat number 1 with those upgraded mythic rifles at their disposal. So 14 HP Bryce hoping to grab some extra shield, but has been caught up. David gonna find that one. Revenge finally they come through. We've seen this fight all game between these 2 duos. They fought at Frenzy. They got third party. No one else is here. They're stuck on the side of the slab. No one can come fight in third party this one. They get the chance to finally have the 2-on-2. And what have they done? They've traded.
And now you can see Crisp on YouTube making their way down. They get a read on David, but the building battle has begun. And David, definitely quick on the sticks, is able to get up and away and avoid the danger. As you can see, Crisp on YouTube going to take a minute now just to pop a quick shield, quick heal, and now back to work right again.
Great turtling thus far. Teammate going to go down there for David, so they were able to manage to avoid that res. It's David now held. Chris knows it. 20 seconds from the zone pull here. He's going to try to force his way into that one. That'll be one to keep an eye on. As we'll move to Duxie, who's currently being pressured. Piece control for Sap. Got the roof, got the elimination. It'll be 2 for this team with overclocks, as they've got the zone pull. They've got favor, and they've got the rotational options. This team will go to height, just looking to spam and hold the rest of the lobby away.
Yep, that they will, and you can see the storm now moving ever so closer in. And you know what? We don't get the shoreline finished that, I was hoping for earlier, but instead we're going back to the mainland, and now we only have this final storm to push, and then it is literally just going to break loose here, as we can see Crisp on YouTube still holding strong.
Mr. Low Ground, Crisp right now putting in the work. Work towards this zone. 33 builds, and it's all wood. That's so tough for a team that's sitting on overclocks on height. Knows he has to get in the box here of Figman. That's going to be good mats garnered back in their control. Now they've got 39 builds of brick, so a little bit stronger to dodge what is this massive rifle spam that is not going to stop for any reason. The only duo left alive is on height with good materials and overclocks. Crisp has done what he could, has taken down the only other opposing solo, but it's goodbye big man getting spammed down right now, trying to jump to Height, and Height will jump down to him. Sap will take the last. It's a victory royale for Cut and Sap.
Now, see, I didn't even get to get a good read because I'm wondering what their elimination points were. We already know they get to 25 points. So, again, a great round no matter which way you look at it. But is it enough to catch up to Bryce and their teammate? You know, is it enough? They remember they were able to secure 35 or rather 36 points in game number 1. So, did they do enough work to try and close the gap?
Here's the issue, right? It's one thing if the team that wins game number 1 of Crisp and Bryce go out early. It's like, okay, the door's open, right? We got room. They can't get more points. Here's the issue. Crisp, the solo out of Daytona State, got second. Walked all the way back. Mr. Low Ground himself was able to find that look out of zone we were talking about, was poking and prodding for before the zone pull, was able to find 2 more kills on low ground, took down both low ground players before finally falling to what was the last duo. So they put the work in. I think they came out of that one with more eliminations as a duo than what the high ground duo finished off with just 5 less points. So I'm going to say the gap probably hasn't moved.
And if not, it might have gotten bigger because you have to keep in mind, Crisp on YouTube before they were eliminated. And again, if I'm capping, say Captain's capping, pretty sure they had 6 eliminations to their name by themselves. We don't even know what the elimination count was for Bryce, you know, rest their soul, before they were eliminated in Fortnite. But with that being said, like you had mentioned, you know, their eliminations on top of that second place finish, the solo second place finish coming from Crisp, automatically guaranteed them 20 points on top of the guaranteed 6 elimination points that were coming from Crisp on YouTube. So again, just from that alone, they got 26 points, which is worth more than a victory royale on top of their 35 points they got from heat number 1. So if anything, that gap could have gotten wider.
Yeah, the team out of Brutal Bastion are nothing short of just that. Well, let you know how things shake up halfway through heat number 1. We return. Don't go anywhere. More Campus Clutch action in just a couple minutes.
Is it them a second time? No. Okay. All right. Oh, is it one of the links?
Yes, it is.
Is it Toon Link?
It is.
Oh, that is pretty embarrassing. That is rough. Who do you play?
I'll give you $20 if you guess correctly right now.
First try? Give me a single hint.
It's an obscure character.
Obscure character.
Not played very often.
Is it Wii Fit Trainer?
Oh my god! Oh my.
I'm the interviewer for a reason, baby. I do what I do. I don't need the money. I appreciate it, though. I appreciate it. So Bowser Jr., Wii Fit, and I forgot already. Are you all lying to me? Am I being gaslit? No. Bowser Jr., Wii Fit, and you told me already. Oh, Toon Link. Yep. Where's my main support at? Who are we playing this weekend?
A lot of Brig.
A lot of Brig, really?
Brig Lucio, probably.
Brig Lucio, really? I shouldn't say that too loud. I don't want to give away your strategies. It's over under.
What do you mean over under?
Like, do we think we're gonna podium? Do we think we're gonna come in last place?
Not last place.
Not last place.
Certainly not last.
What about like 5th place?
That's doable.
That's doable? That's winnable? 3rd place?
Third
That's where things get dicey.
That's very doable.
Okay.
First place? That's very doable.
First place, very doable. Love it. That's the mindset. That's what he loves to hear. Yeah. Oh my God. Hold on. Cut the cameras. Well, who are you? Hello. Oh my God. I saw you earlier. I saw the back of your shirt. And I was like, I know that name. I know him. It's a quick play game. They Q sniped each other at land. I thought it was a scrim. It's just unlucky. Are you actually a Villager player?
Yeah.
How do you feel about Villager being notably worse in Smash Ultimate than they were in Smash 4?
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know? You never played Smash 4?
No.
Oh, that's all right. Nobody's gonna hold that against you. Who do you play?
I play Robin.
Okay, wow. Did you know Robin has the lowest pick rate in the game?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Come on, the LEDs, it looks just like Samus.
Huh?
Do you disagree?
I guess I can see
The
it.
Samus vibe. Show the controller to the camera. We're interviewing. This is recording, by the way. Surprise.
Not my controller.
Who do you play?
I play Peach.
Oh, wow. I like that. Who do you play?
I play the Shotos, mostly Kazuya.
No, you lose against Kirby. That's just like a statistics thing.
Yeah. It's maybe.
This is a death match. I think they're all in the same one. They're all on Icebox. Are they all in the same death match? Maybe. Who knows? I feel like none of them can hear me. I want to like approach somebody, but no one can hear. They all have both their headphones on.
What's up?
How do we think we're doing?
I think we're doing pretty good. Yeah.
What's your kitty?
We're looking at 10-6 right now.
Oh, hey, that's 3rd, dude. That's better than I expected. Who's bottom frag right now? I want to go talk to them. Ian? Hey, how do you think we're doing so far?
You know, it could be better.
Could be better? You're one of those rough days?
Well, you know.
Let's go find more people to harass. Where's Boise State? Who's your favorite to play?
Oh, right now it's got to be either Chamber or Breach.
What country is Cypher from?
Oh, dude, it's Moroccan, right?
It is Morocco. Oh my God, I don't think anyone was gonna get that. Oh, you're good. You're good. All right, see you later. Let's go harass Boise State more. Who is this? What school is this? Boise?
This is Boise.
Oh man, that's okay. Boise's still got really good odds. A Large Bagel, one of their tank players, Nerdy Bird, they're off tank. Both of them not here. A little bit scary, if we're being honest. Getting warmed up, getting ready to cast some players. No, okay, not cast, interview. Change your mindset, change your mindset.
Words.
No, but last words until we come back.
Oh, okay.
Because we're leaving.
Enjoy.
Oh, that was good, that was good. Anything from you?
How are you doing, Polly?
Awesome, thank you so much for your time.
Welcome everybody here to the top 5 plays of the week from EsportsU. Clutchkey here to help you bring those 5 plays, and we got one from each game lined up. Let's start with play number 5, and this one takes us to Rocket League, where the Bulldogs of Louisiana Tech and the SUNY Poly Wildcats squaring off. But for the Bulldogs, they show us why the saying goes, teamwork makes the dream work, with insane passes and a goal to end it.
The options have to go and recover defensively because that's a big long clear. And, well, the long clear can either catalyze an offense or bring into situations like this. Jazz leaps up for the shot, knocks it home.
Now, the Wildcats were able to take a game off the Bulldogs, but in the end, Louisiana Tech would go on to win the series 4-1. Coming in at number 4 is from League of Legends, and it's the Army West Point Black Knights and the Lethbridge College Kodiaks playing in a USA versus Canada game on the Rift. But down 2 people mid-game, it was looking kind of like the Black Knights had a challenging fight coming up in top lane. But then again, the Army isn't called tough for nothing.
2v4, by the way. Now a 3v1 into another 3v1. This is Army West Point just doing the duty list, right? That is almost a full ace. Yeah, the minions will help him out. That is an ace.
Now that was in game number 1, and Army West Point would go on to win the entire series 2-0.
Ladies and Campus Cup, we are halfway through warm-up number 1. $250 on the line and 2 more rounds left to go. Soka, we've got an update when it comes to the leaderboard. Who's in first?
Well, I mean, it's really no surprise. I mean, we talked about it literally nonstop. It's Crisp on YouTube and, of course, Twitter Bryce Fortnite, currently in the number 1 spot with a total of 65 points. But hold the phone. Get this. Our previous winners of SAP games in its cut currently behind them, trailing only by 10 points.
By 10 points is not that bad. And I think that's where we really see the value of high placement formats compared to high elimination point formats, right? Because we look at this leaderboard, initially the first thing that jumps into my head is the fact that Crisp and Bryce have 18 eliminations. Sap and Cut have 8, but still the gap is only 10 points because of that 5-point extra boost from the second and first place placement points. 25 for first, 20 for second. So room to play for these teams and room to come back. We're only halfway through. Think about it. That's so good. This team dies early. This team in first. It's a wide open leaderboard.
Now, you see, that is the question, isn't it? You know, there's a 10-point difference and there's a 10 elimination difference. So where did those points come from? Was it the placements or was it the 10 eliminations? Who's to say? But regardless, I mean, but regardless, you can't ignore the fact that, you know, sitting in the first place team currently, Crisp on YouTube and Bryce, both effectively getting wins. They're getting top placements and they're also getting eliminations. So when you're just effective at both, you're going to be on top. But like you said, if this team gets eliminated early, then, you know, that's going to really shake up the entire leaderboard, because meanwhile you still have Hasbusa and Duxie, or Duxie, however the proper pronunciation may be, currently sitting with 42 points. So they're not too far behind as well. If they were able to get a first place finish and come through with the 25 victory royale, then they're going to be at 67 points total, which would give them the first place, assuming that Bryce and Crisp would fall short. So again, it really only takes one solid round to make a huge difference on these standings.
Yeah, we'll see how these mid-game fights shake out going into heat number 3, because this team at the top of the leaderboard, 12 eliminations, game number 1. We saw them consistently in mid-game fights, right? We saw that long extended frenzy fight. We saw it finally finish when we got over to the final zone pull of Shatter and Slabs. They only finished that game with 3 eliminations. So the 3 that we saw, that zone hold and the 2 low ground kills towards the end of the game, were the only eliminations that this team actually came out with. So give them the extra bid, mid-game fights, right? Give them that frenzy elimination, those 2 or maybe even 4. It's a much different story.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? When you're looking at the grand scheme of things as well, you know, we currently have a team sitting in 6th place right now, and that would be the team of Fantasy Figment and Iro WYD, which I assume is what you doing. Iro, what you doing? Currently in 6th place right now and don't have a single elimination. So if that's not telling of how far these placement points go, then I don't know what is.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, today the gap will be 1st and 2nd. It is 150 for 1st, 100 for 2nd. That's, of course, being split by duo. So if you want money coming out of warm-up number 1, you're going to want to be in that 1st or 2nd place spot. Right now, the gap between 2nd and 3rd is 13. So still, I'd say room open in that department as well, going into what is the back half of the event today.
Yeah, and you know what? Again, you know, we just love what we are seeing, especially how, like, I guess the divvying up of this map, because you got to keep in mind, you know, the players, it's not like a full 100 slotted lobby. You know, these are teams of 2. You're looking at respective around 30 total, if not more, maybe a little give or take. And with that being said, you get to really see the divvying up of the map, of the POIs, and how these teams kind of fall into place, and then how the late game ends up inevitably changing based on where they are coming from and where the storm is heading, of course, with the initial POI that a lot of these teams take. So right now, we've already seen it's been Bastion time and time again, coming from our 1st place team. 2 heats in a row has been the same starting point, and they still managed to finish in the number 1 and number 2 spots. So it's going to be interesting to see how things change as we move on into the second half of our heats today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find it interesting that 2 duos we've seen come away with victory royales thus far are duos of hodgepodge homies. I like to see for these sort of tournaments, I love to see colleges come together, multiple colleges, not just the same school. It kind of makes you feel like, hey, you're the man. I know we're going to be good, and since we don't have to be from the same university, we get that extra strength, right? Because these guys in round number 1 are Daytona, Purdue. These guys in round number 2 are Montclair and Akron. So we get to see everybody kind of jump in. I love to see Akron successful in Fortnite as well, a team that invested immediately into the Cleveland Fortnite space. The Zips have had rosters of up to 5-6 guys at a time at their university. So it's a pleasure to see that squad, that program continue to breed results.
And you know what? I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna be honest. Akron is really one of the figureheads of collegiate esports. So when they get involved, they really put their muscle behind it. They have one of the best collegiate esports programs out of any university in the country. They are absolutely fantastic. They are constantly in the conversation nearly for every collegiate esport, especially myself, who comes from a Rocket League background, another Epic Games aficionado. Akron Zips still have a predominant presence in the world of collegiate Rocket League as well, and it's spreading. You can see they are now becoming a presence and a force to be reckoned with in collegiate Fortnite, and I cannot wait to see how other esport organizations in the collegiate space are going to follow suit, because believe it or not, Akron Zips, Akron in general, seems to set the trend when it comes to collegiate esports. So when you see them involved in things like collegiate Fortnite, you had best believe that other universities are going to continue to follow suit, and we're going to continue to see this collegiate esport grow.
Absolutely, and we'll continue to follow suit when it comes to the Campus Cup. This is just warm-up number 1. Next week, same time, same place, warm-up number 2. Another $250 up for grabs, another chance to lock in your POIs for what is the big money maker, the Campus Cup Finals. 6 games of action. If you are a collegiate Fortnite player, you're an amateur Fortnite player, you're a pro Fortnite player, you're used to the 6-game format, you're used to coming in, looking to get the job done within 3 or 4 hours and close out as the victor. $2,000 going to be up for grabs in what is our main event. That is 2 weeks away, April 24th. All that action going to happen right here. So you're watching this broadcast going, these guys are crazy. How are they so good? This is just foreshadowing to what is to come.
And, that's actually a real benefit here, at EsportsU. The fact that we're giving these warm-up moments, a chance to win some nice chunk of change, $250. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's a nice full tank of gas on a good day. So regardless, we're giving them the warm-up opportunities, not to just get ready for the big event, but also give them an opportunity to win a nice little chunk of change as well. You don't see that with a lot of other organized tournaments. They don't give you a warm-up. They don't give you opportunities to, really stretch your legs. They just throw you right into the mix. So again, a lot of opportunities here at EsportsU.
Yeah, and it's pretty hit or miss, the collegiate scrim community, in terms of getting scrims and then also getting scrims for certain game modes based off of whoever the big provider at the time is and what they're showing off. So the fact that we get these warm-ups, that's almost 2 days of just solid collegiate scrims. A chance for these players to really try in high impact scenarios. We all know that you get into tournament play, right? There's a little bit extra pressure there. So we get to simulate that in these warm-ups in addition.
Oh my goodness. Look at these drops already off the rip. Look how so many. It looks as though they're all gunning for Mega City, but again, we do have one that looks like they're going to Kenjutsu. All the while, look, once again, you got Brutal Bastion definitely within the eyes, probably and more than likely, of our number 1 place team. And so far, it's going to pretty much look just about the same in terms of POI.
Get to see where Skossamer and Baz have been originating when it comes to these heats. This time we get to see them at the forefront. Take a slurp truck early. They are working a split, and that explains why they're always riding outside of Mega City. Split's going to be right outside the massive POI.
Yeah, not much doing here. I mean, this is pretty much what we have been seeing. These teams have figured out what their POIs are. They know where they have success, and they know where they do not. So with that being said, once again, we're looking back at the Mega City, and once again, it seems as though that it might just be divvied up again between the same 3 teams that we have seen in the first bout here. But once again, we're seeing pace here, finding themselves in Mega City. They did have a decent start, but they unfortunately in Heat 2 they did not finish strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Poe, unfortunately, the only player who was able to get to that final circle of this duo, and he was caught by Crisp on the low ground towards the end of that game. The second longest lasting solo for that duo on Height took everything. When it comes to Mega City, we've seen pretty much everybody consistently be able to split this and make it out alive. Last game was not the case, fortunately for Rico, but we'll see if this is a different story. I mean, you consider game 3, right? You're continuing to come here. You feel like you can safely get out.
Yeah, and that usually has been the case. And you know what? In the Heat number 2, we saw 3 teams here at Mega City. Now it looks like it's only down to 2. So this could be even bigger potential, and assuming that a third party doesn't make their way in to try and, pick apart the scraps. But with that being said, with these 2 teams currently, all you'd have to do is take out that one opposing team, and then literally the entire plethora that is Mega City belongs to you. So do you try and engage early, or do you just continue to farm and then take it out with each other later?
That's the question for these players to answer. Just across the street from one another right now. Won't know that just yet, and create a little bit of dramatic irony, a little bit of tension for us here. Farm will continue. It's like the Pace duo might have waves of this one. The fact that actively scouting, so actively replacing all these walls to continue to grab these materials. That farm rate extended, of course, in competitive mode, so they're able to farm. Oh, that drop down came through. They didn't shoot. Like the call. They saw 2K for just a moment, but no shots. They want to make sure they have that element of surprise at their disposal when they do decide to pull the trigger.
And you know what's funny? I didn't even look at the names to see that was 2K. I just knew from the skin. Like that classic, like stuntman looking skin. Like I was just like, oh, that's Notorious 2K. I know who that is. But also you got Shallow across the way as well. And again, that is a team that is pretty good at surviving. They really didn't have a pop-off game just yet. They don't top frag. But, somehow, some way, they always end up in conversation.
Yeah, very much so. They're at the forefront of our attention. In the middle of the game, we saw Chris looking to go down to secure that vault. They're able to take down Shallow, and then 2K, Mr. Confident, walked out, tried to tunnel him, got caught by a low ground Havoc shot, and unfortunately met their maker in heat number 2, but that's room for them to work with. Sent to the lobby, but all good. Opportunity to recover in this one, and I like a confident player. It really means a lot when it comes to mid-round fighting.
And you know what, I got to tell you, we took a moment to take a glimpse over at SAP Games, who currently with their teammate is sitting in second place, close to taking first place. And, you know, they were wearing, you know, the Christmas gear, fully kitted, Santa hat and all. And, you know, we're currently in April. So, again, that's confidence right there. If that doesn't speak volumes of confidence, I don't know what does.
Confident on its way. Espo going to step in, takes the wall, is going to get caught in the back end. Shallow will be there on that one. Get back together quickly here. They'll chug splash one another. Continue this fight. Poe on height. His Havoc is just so bad. This gray shotgun is going to do 0 damage, and he knows it. Going to allow for Art to walk in first. He'll jump to the low ground. Trying to catch Shallow here in a 1v2. Fortunately, the big spray on its way. And who is it other than the split duo of Scosper and Baz yet again into Mega City?
And, you know, this is somewhat familiar of what we saw there in heat number 2. It started off, you know, with the 3-team split. They divvied up Mega City, but now it was inevitable that at least one other team was going to make their way in here, and they have. And who else, like you said, besides Baz, High Ground, and Scossamer? And that is a deadly team. You know, these two teams so far, you know, you're looking at Pace and you're looking at Notorious, and, you know, they don't exactly have top fragging numbers. Well, you look at Scossamer, and you know what? They do. They get eliminations on the board. So this is a deadly team making their way in.
There's 2K. Down first. That gives a bit of siphon over to Bass, a bit of extra mats. This team going to push forward. They like to play in this turtle. They're going to opt to do so right now. Poe looking to hold on to that wall, but the Pace duo have just been broken through. This is an awkward one to get through. Finally opts to just break the generator. Get it out of my way as Baz to push forward. Taking an extra wall here. Defending in the middle is this team. They haven't had much time to farm. They've been looting all throughout this Mega City early. They were the team that got jumped on initially. Are they going to actually be able to hold off this turtle against a team that has been doing nothing but farming for the early part of this game? Answer early. Jump peek from Scossamer comes through off the triangle, looking for an additional headed up. Art headed for the rails, chased immediately by Scossamer on his dome piece. No shot to come through. Rolled just a little bit too far. Baz to the high ground, and Art caught by Scossamer.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, you said that the Gray Havoc wasn't gonna be able to do much, but I gotta tell you, that team definitely made it look good, being able to get at least one elimination off the duo. So again, I guess it's more about who is actually holding on to it, but I do agree that the Gray Havoc is doo-doo water. But again, in the right hands, I guess you could make the most of it as we make our way now over to Medics.
Medics and Pleb. Little mid-round fighting. Fortunately for them, it's against Heat 2's winners. Cut and Sap. They're going to play spoiler early here. That'll open up space on the leaderboard for a team trying to make it into second place. To be a big fight win. Big storyline moment early into warm-up number 1. Medic going to edit through, looking to grab this last wall. Great protective pickaxing onto the wall. Didn't quite grab enough. Is going to get the roof piece. Has some room to play with here, as neither player on the low ground has edited that pyramid back. Going to work over to his teammate now. They're going to try to pressure this together. One to spray, one to take the wall. I love how patient they're being, utilizing just a little bit of mats here as they try to take the wall to make sure no cheeky shots get out from either of these players.
I don't like how they just, again, Medics just takes the time to hack one quick tree real quick. I mean, you have the resource there. You might as well make the most of it. So while they're, you know, hunkering down in fear, we're going to continue to apply on as many materials as we can to outlast this turtle fight. But at the same time, you see them taking on SAP Games, right? And you're thinking, oh, this could really shake things up for the lobby. You know, it can really make a difference in the overall standings. Or could it just help Bryce and Chris extend their lead in that first place spot even further?
Bro. All good. The most panicked moment we've ever seen. Please see the elimination to come through. That felt like a commercial break in this fight. It's what that felt like.
Well, here we go. Back to business. You know, again, we could see currently that Saps are kind of back up against the wall here. As you can see, Pleb trying to make their way in, and they have a pretty nice weapon. You know, they're going to be coming in with the gold Havoc. As you can see, it does deal damage. They do find the first knock on the duo, and now only Saps remains.
That ain't great. That's gold. Pleb gonna find one early, continuing their way through these walls. The Sap going to hold on for a moment here, but it's now just half. But what was the Heat 2 winners? Working away is Sap. What can he make happen? Caught in metal right now. That's a good material to be in when you've got 2 players on both walls. The player out of Montclair. Can they make some magic happen? Gonna have to be precise on the timings of these edits. Material count starts to run low. Pleb's got a ton. He's gonna work their way in. Confidence at an all-time high. Editing into his own pieces. He's got the room. He's got the wall. Shots on poke, taking all the pieces in the world, and Sap will fall.
Yep, that they do. Down goes your second place team here in Heat 3, and they go out just a wee bit early, but still enough to get at least some points to scavenge. But with that being said, Bryce and Crisp on YouTube still pretty much healthy here in Heat number 3, and they are extending their lead. Meanwhile, with the team that we just saw, Medics and Plebs, they have quite a ways to go. They have a lot of ground to catch up on. So, you know, they took some of their biggest competition out early, but the job's still not done.
There's so much room now to work with. Job not finished, though, of course. They can grab the additional cut and Bryce. Everything's opened up. We mentioned you guarantee 50 apiece if you can just get second. So there is room for every player in the lobby right now. Saw the kill feed and got excited at the opportunity now to make some magic happen. Sebastian going to work towards Mega City now. This duo of Duxie. This team has had mixed results when it comes to the mid game. We've seen them walk away with 2 eliminations. We've seen them walk away as the players eliminated.
And, you know, this is the team right now that's currently in 3rd. So if anybody is to gain ground here from the side of Sap and Itzka going down early, it's definitely this team as they look to take the 2nd place spot. But meanwhile, you have Baz High Ground currently taking some shots here, and they're forced to start building.
Medics putting the pressure on early into this fight. Can you blame them? Just took down the number 2 duo. Feel like they can do everything right now and are trying to express those thoughts as Skosimer tried to work forward. Player's going to go to height here. He's going to recognize only 38 mad. Skosimer, you got to be smart about these builds. Solid pyramid edit. Get him a little extra space. Didn't need the ramp. Protecting up in front. You got to protect yourself at the same time. You got to make sure you don't utilize too much for a team that is going so high. And Skosimer will recognize going to opt to disengage. Met his teammate in the mountains and looking to follow is the likes of Medics and Pleb. They haven't let this team go. They're not going to let them just walk away from this fight. Baz will use the moments to look to grab a little extra mad. Skosimer is going to get caught by the likes of the Havoc. Everything to do now for Baz. Caught by damage. The AR spray is enough. Medics and Pleb will find another duo.
Hold the phone here for a second. This team is going on an absolute tear. They're riding a wave of momentum, and honestly, I would start to be nervous of this team. I mean, currently, you know, they still have a ways to go in terms of overall standings. You know, they are currently sitting in the number 8 spot, so still plenty of ways away from that top 3. But with the way they've been playing, being able to take out that the number 2 team, and now being able to take out some teams that are pretty frag heavy. I mean, let's keep it real. Let's be honest. Skosimer and their teammate, pretty dangerous. You know, you're thinking about Bass High Ground, and they managed to really get some eliminations on the board. So they are not a team that are unfamiliar with a lot of these firefights. You know, they're currently in the number 4 spot with 9 eliminations. That is a pretty solid team to be taken out. And so far, we're seeing Medics and Plebs take on some pretty tough competition.
And the team on top of Spire right now are the team to look out for. This team currently in 1st by some hefty margins. They've got full control of the circle early at the highest point of contention. Have room to work around. Gonna grab a little extra loot for their troubles now as well while they wait for this rotation.
Take a look here. We have the Notorious 2K, whom I thought was eliminated earlier. Or did they manage to escape Mega City? That's the did they just get lost in the sauce and somehow manage to escape? Because you
No,
gotta keep
2K was eliminated earlier, correct. Shallow managed to stay alive, was able to disengage off of what was the Skossamer and Co. third party. I guess allowed Shallow to walk in, get the reboot card, and has been able to bring his teammate back into this one. And pretty decent loot for this team back in the game.
Yeah, because I was getting ready to say this team was in dire straits there in Mega City, and I do remember, I remember this stuntman, stuntwoman skin being eliminated. But again, you know, that's just great teamwork coming from Shallow in order to survive and, you know, bring their teammate back as they look to try and make a comeback here in Heat 3.
Who better than the skier? Looking to take these teams down the slow. 2K turns that one around. The 180 for the shots, but third party's on their way as Bryce is looking for a cleanup with Crisp in tow. Medic's low HP is able to dodge the first shots from the Mythic Shotgun. Continuing on their way, though, is going to be Crisp. Is now thirsted for the first pick. Shallow out into trouble, and it's into Bryce, looking for the cleanup. Will use the wall, extra protection shot. Not going to land, though. Odd thing to heal. Teammate now going to take up toe. Big look coming out of Shallow. Going to find one. Looking for another. A 1-on-2 would be insane for this player. Managed to find the first. Take down this duo in this fashion would be absolutely mental.
And not to mention, if they're able to take down this duo, that is going to be a huge opportunity to take them out early, even though they did get a couple of elimination points. But to take them out this early and deny them that top 2 or even top 3 spot is going to be absolutely devastating as far as their overall standings would be. I think they would still be safe nonetheless, but it gives a lot of opportunity for these other teams to try and catch up to what seemed to be an insurmountable lead.
And enter Duxie and Hasbussa. Want a little fun on the edge of zone here. Want to see what they can find. As Medics just does not want any part of this one. Is going to head as far as possible. Chris has gotten away from this one. I don't believe they were able to get the reboot card.
And meanwhile, they're trying to hold on to this high ground. As you can see, the storm is making its way in. Just about 20 seconds left until it closes. And then round number 5 begins to go underway. As now you can see they're trying to rain on damage on high. Shallow on the receiving end. They're just trying to stay alive underneath all that fortifications. But they are currently outside of the good graces of the ring. So they're going to be forced to come out.
Easy rotation. When you got a kinetic blade at your disposal, this team will be instantly into the zone. And so look for a hold behind them. They'll know about it because they just disengaged off of it. See if they opt to hang around. I think both players holding SMGs here, so they don't have the greatest zone hold opportunity. They recognize this and instead going to opt to head towards side here. Going to set up early, looking to try to come away with this one with a win.
And if they do, that will definitely push them beyond where their current standing is in third place. They will without a doubt be able to take second if they do come away with this win, because keep in mind our current second place team, Sap Games and Ithaca has been taken out already. So there's literally no other points that they could possibly earn, which is going to leave the team of Hasbussa and Duxie with a huge opportunity to take second place. And if they can even take on the remaining player, Crisp on YouTube. Oh, wait, now Bryce is also back into the mix, so hold the phone. This team still very much alive.
Very nice from Crisp. Was able to come up with a very big second place in heat number 2 after Bryce went down early. This time has done just a little extra legwork, been able to get the reboot card, and now back to full strength is a second duo into this one. Ira on a field trip right now, seeing the sights, seeing the heights. Going to look to Blade from way deep downtown. Whatever player they land on top of, look out.
This is still quite the trek you gotta go. I mean, they're going all the way up, and now they have to make their way in. Finally, we're going horizontal, completely horizontal, as now they are out of wood and have to use the bricks. But let's check back in with Bryce, who find themselves in the middle of a firefight.
Bryce has gone down once. Certainly, the leading duo won't let that happen again. It's Duxie and Hasbussa. They've been caught out here. So all the early pieces going to be taken by the top duo in this event. Bryce the spam through, Cone taken. This is great work from the duo. They're on both sides of this one, containing this team. Great box from Crisp, going to seal the deal. And Bryce will find one out the back end. Fantastic work, splitting and conquering.
Yeah, and what could have been a fantastic opportunity for our third place team with Hasbossa and their teammate Duxie, now unfortunately in shambles. No opportunity for them here as they get taken out by our number 1 team, who is only looking to extend their already substantial lead. As you can see, they do have a good bit of amount of elimination points on top of what is guaranteed at least a top 5 finish here in heat number 3.
These guys on their way, looking to bridge over, thinking about fighting this team on hill. Both players have blades at their disposal. They can get there pretty quickly. They finally caught Iroh, who has been in the air on absolutely no support. But they've opted instead head for this team on the hill, going to push forward into this one. Zone will move in a minute. This is how long they've got to fight this one out. Medic's in the shield bubble. Has put himself in the arena with Crisp, and has Camelway as the traitor. I was going to say the victor, but actually Medic's going to get knocked as well. They trade one another. Now it's up to the duos to do the work. Bryce just got saved by Crisp. Can they save their teammate now instead? Looking to Chug to keep that knocked body at full HP. It's the hard one, though, with team spamming from Mega City. Looks like it is going to come through. Resurrection on its way. 1 Chug splash left. A second, actually, picked up. Chug's going to be in the inventory of Crisp. So all you need to do is res here, Chug, and then blade back to zone. Very good stuff yet again from the top duo. It's the reason they're number 1.
Yeah, not only that, but they are in round 7 of this storm, so this is not something you take lightly. The damage here, a lot more substantial than what we were seeing in previous rounds. Of course, you know, in round number 4, we had a couple of teams.
They shot him down.
Yeah, we had a couple teams outside in the storm, and, you know, it wasn't looking pretty good. But here in round number 7, it's a different story. That damage is going to be a lot worse. And you can see, look, Iroh actually managed to stay alive, you know, falling into the water there, eating up some of that damage. But now you can see Bryce making their way in with yet another elimination as they find themselves now on the heels of Shallow.
Oh, great edit coming through. Rarely get to see half walls, but Bryce makes it look good for the extra angling on that one. Shallow will fall, and here's the teammate, the dynamic duo. Now with 10 eliminations, they had 12 in heat number 1. They're now on the tear, looking for a repeat performance. 11 they're capable of here. They can find Iroh, and they have done just that.
Oh my goodness. The lead that you think could not have gotten any wider is now nearly doubled. I mean, they are playing out of their minds currently. I mean, we were talking about having that 16 elimination cap. That's the most you can get. And they nearly have come to that twice, at least, bare minimum, twice so far in these heats. And now, not only that, did they come away with a fantastic amount of eliminations, but they get the victory royale as well, and they get another 25 additional points tacked onto their double-digit elimination points, skyrocketing them, I think, beyond contention. I don't think any of these other teams, with all due respect, have enough heats left to even try and keep up or even catch this team.
These guys guaranteed to break the leaderboard. So while we sit in the back end, try to get the pieces together, the points calculated. It was just a couple minutes. When we come back, more Campus Cup action, and we'll let you know how big the margin from first and second is.
Started to look good for South Florida to flip the point. Unfortunately for them, one player was hitting shots and one player was showing why Doomfist has Doom in his name.
Getting 2 picks, although that comes out right back. Bob is out on the floor. Ski gets 2. Ski gets 2. This is just an annihilating fracture here from Ski. It's unbelievable. The fight continues on, and it looks like it's going to be a fight win here for Albany.
Albany would go ahead and take that game and take on the sweep as they would defeat South Florida 3-0. 2 spots left on the countdown, and coming in at number 2 is Super Smash Bros. Sauce from the Fisher Falcons taking on Neo Joe from the St. Thomas Aquinas Spartans. It's Mario taking on the Pokemon trainer with the Squirtle out, but don't let Sauce start cooking or they could lay the smackdown on you.
Sauce, there's a couple of Mario players kind of making waves right now, but it's about what Sauce is doing right now to Neo Joe. He's saucing him up. Oh my mercy, what a forward air.
Fisher would go ahead and take that fight, take that win, and take the series 2-0. And the number 1 play belonging to Valorant. The Demon Deacons of Wake Forest have a 1-0 lead up on the Bryan Bulldogs, heading to Icebox. But Wake Forest down 6-4. Spike planted on B, and it's a 1v3 situation favoring the Bulldogs. Luckily for the Demon Deacons, this is one of the rounds that Conrad decided to play the hero.
Are they just going to lead this? Are they playing for Hunter's Fury potentially? They are. And there's the shot from Aimbot, though. This is going to be extremely dangerous. He's going to be able to find him. Does he have time?
Now that match would go on to map number 3, and Conrad would also get an ace on that last map, but it wasn't enough as Brian would win the series 2-1. And that's it for the top 5 of the week from EsportsU. We'll see you back out there for even more games. And until next time, this is Clutchkey from EsportsU signing off.
And there's so many other jobs as well that can translate out of this experience in esports. The only path is not just as a player. I think all of us are representative of jobs in esports, but it mirrors traditional sports in pretty much the same way. You've got, broadcasters, you've got production people, you've got marketing and sales, and now NIL and things like that. But really, esports is kind of a great accelerator for a lot of new businesses that are coming up in the metaverse and Web3, and there's a lot of new technology that is going to be needed. And so these STEM students that are also esports athletes are really the future workforce and leaders of tomorrow. And us, as well as all of our brand partners that we work with, really recognize this. And I think that's really, a key driver of why brands are in this space. They want to be part of building that future workforce and leadership and shaping it and supporting it. So, yeah, it's been a very interesting space to watch.
And we offer such a big, we offer such a big counterpart to traditional sports also, because it's a counterpart, but it's also the same, is what I'm trying to say. Because when you're traditional sports and they're done after their 2-a-day workout and they're done after their practice scrim, they're coming home to play Call of Duty and relax and put their feet up and get a drink and play video games. It grows their brain, problem-solving skills, and their hand-eye coordination while they're home. Hand-eye coordination, if you're a football player, massive skill. So it helps build those things while they're off the field. And then for us, vice versa, if you're an esports athlete, one of the errors I had growing up when I was competing in esports is that I was not active enough. I played sports, I competed a little bit, but I wasn't active enough truly when I look at it. So that's one area that esports players can learn from in terms of activity and physical and the marrying of both. People say, oh, sports and esports, video games. Not really. We're just kind of the tech industry's competitive form of competition, as to where traditional sports are more physical, hands-on. So I believe in the marrying of these two sectors and that they actually live together while also being counterparts.
Well, I think then to speak to something about marrying, right, from traditional to esports, that to me speaks to this whole new thing, at least again from you guys, right? You guys have more traditional sports background, right? Paul, Lee, Mike, and all of that. But I think let's talk NIL then, because I think that's something that I think is really interesting, that at least when I heard about it, right, of what we're trying to do with, esports athletes, schools, programs in general, because it wasn't something you would think normally, right? You could understand, right, football player on the field, star quarterback, it makes sense, right? The guy is somebody that everybody knows on campus, whether you're on the team, off the team, or you're just going to the school, it makes sense. But I think, nowadays it's not as common, or people don't think that they could be somebody that their name is out there, right? Or that they're known, right? As we're growing this space, as we're putting this together, it almost feels really interesting that, your star entry in Valorant, or your star forward on Rocket League, right? Whatever the case might be, now they can have NIL deals. It's a thing out there, and I think, I don't know, maybe Mike, you want to start off, but
I think thank you for teeing that up. So I was talking for too long. I forgot to bring NIL into the mix. So it's a common occurrence, occupational hazard. So I would say that so NIL for I'm sure most of you watching understand what it is, but NIL stands for name, image, and likeness. Name, image, and likeness, that term has been utilized to describe the transition of traditional student athletes, NCAA athletes,
Welcome back, one and all, to EsportsU Campus Cup warm-up week number 1. I'm Cadnator. That's Ahsoka. And before we get into the final heat of the night, we gotta do a leaderboard update.
And we got to talk about the leaderboards a little bit, during the break, and I got to tell you, things are looking pretty good right now for Crisp on YouTube and Bryce. Currently, they are sitting in the number 1 spot with a grand total of 101 points, and followed by Sap Games and It's Cut. Even though they went down a little early there in heat number 3, it did not affect their second place status, because you remember the number 3 team has Bossa and Duxie were eliminated shortly afterwards. So they still hold on to their second place spot with a total of 70 points coming from Sap Games and It's Cut, which in heat number 4, it puts them within the point span of being able to equalize, even take the lead, but they would have to have literally the game of their lives, amassing 16 total elimination points. And then not only that, but Crisp on YouTube and Bryce would have to fall immediately. They would have to be the first ones out. So it is not beyond the realm of possibility. It is just insanely improbable that Crisp on YouTube and Bryce are going to be taken out of their number 1 spot.
Yeah, running the numbers, I don't know. It's possible.
Technically, numerically, it's possible.
As the player count has walked down here, I think a couple players have recognized, man, it was not our week. Already, the numbers thinned even further. As 2K gonna fall very early. Couldn't sap to find that one. Shallow, next on the list for this duo. Gonna grab themselves a couple points early in this game over at Kenjutsu. We'll see how long Shallow can stay alive.
Actually, you know what? Captain was captain, because I just noticed that we had a team that is no longer with us. So now it does put them out of contention. And I think it is safe to say, again, if I'm captain might be captain, but it does seem as though Crisp on YouTube and Bryson are now officially out of reach and should, no matter what, be your first place finishers here today.
I just played exceptional throughout every heat. Earned it. Simply put, averaging 10 eliminations per match with an average placement of 1.3. They finished first, they finished second, and they finished first again.
And we really just need to reiterate that because, okay, here we go. I'm just going to give y'all some quick statistics here. The second place team, as eliminations are concerned, the second team for eliminations is Skosimer and High Ground, who have a total of 9 eliminations. That is your second placed elimination team. The team with the most eliminations is Crisp and Bryce with 29 eliminations. So the closest team to them haven't even broke double digits.
Yeah, I think that statement says all that needs to be said at the end of the day. It is just warm-up number 1. We've still got warm-up number 2 in 1 week's time. And of course, the main event, the $2,000 prize pool 6-game finale on April 24th. For now, see if the battle for second place is any spice. That is where the action's going to be. 11 points, the difference between Asbosa Duxie, Sap Games, and It's Cut.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some change in, some monies to be had from the second place finish. So that is definitely still a spicy fight there to be said between our second and third place teams. And with that being said, they still have other teams very much in contention. For example, you have Skosimer, High Ground, still in contention. And believe it or not, you got Fantasy Figment and Iroh still very much in contention for hitting that top 3, even possibly top 2, depending on how well they play. But again, I just have to reiterate just how insane these 29 eliminations from Bryce and Crisp are, because in the beginning, I had mentioned that, one team could Thanos snap literally the half of the lobby. I didn't think a team would actually do it.
Very fair. I don't think the rest of the teams in the lobby thought so either. Didn't know the kind of beast they were getting locked into the cage with. Crisp led forward, looking to really top this one off. Figment, only a matter of time, trying to rotate towards the zone right now, trying to get back towards their teammate. At least going to have a blade at their disposal to make things a little bit faster. As Chris is finally going to call this one off. Storm damage so much less now that Bryce has time to really sit there and try to zone hold that one. Still couldn't quite find the player, though, going to work their way back. And Fantasy and Duo have got themselves a little bit of room. Will live for who knows how long, but this will not be the final save for them here in Heat 4.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely do love gatekeeping as much as I love bush tactics. You know, again, whatever you got to do to get the win, but realistically, when you're looking at the round 1 gatekeep, there's really not much to be had. The damage just isn't that great. Meanwhile, we make our way back to Hasbussa, who is looking to get themselves into that top 3 spot.
Hasbussa looking like Hasbuster the way he came into this fight. Trying to be the big difference maker in this one, the big damage putter. It's going to recognize the Pace duo has gotten together here on the sidewall. We'll back away. We'll shield back up. Now we're going to look to take height. A quick move out the box. Wasn't quite enough. Lost his roof. Somehow lost his floor as well. Awkward placing. The mixed place actually worked out in their favor. Now Duxie here to play spoiler. Going to find damage. Has put Art very low. Still alive though. You'll hear the chug splash coming for that player now as well. As Duxie going to turtle to safety. Not as together, though, is this teammate of Duxie and Hasbussa, the 3rd place team. They've got room to work off of here for the Pace duo, trying to find these 1v2s, trying to isolate. They continue to push their way up. Hasbussa down to just what is 33 builds now. Big damage onto Art, and that's going to open the door for this duo to find value. They've got themselves split up nicely now. Got room to play with. Art's going to drop all the way to the low ground. Duxie to chase. Hasbussa is going to see if they can find Poe.
I just feel so bad for this Pace University team because there is not a single other team in this lobby that will allow them to leave Mega City.
Hey, you go to Mega City, you gotta be ready to play like you're in Mega City. The biggest POI, it's the best loot, it's the juiciest, and everybody knows it. They're for sure going to rotate into you. You gotta be ready for the big mid-game fights, and it's been a tough go of things for now. At the very least, they've been able to hold on the low ground. Rush is going to go all the way to height here, using that natural elevation. Grab a couple extra mats, grab a chest. Has some room. This team allowed to heal up. Don't think they really have the white heals to be able to do so, though, unfortunately for them.
Yeah, well, again, the good news is that they are in Mega City, so this is the most opportunity they can to actually find some more of those heals. But take a look at this. Pace University now trying to get out, but Hasbussa already given chase, not allowing them to leave.
Hasbuster back yet again. Open the door for the first fight. Trying to do so once more. Big damage. Art continues to get rolled by these big damage. Shotgun blast as Hasbuster getting caught by one of his own off the low ground. Room for the Pace duo to still come back in this one. They've got the knock. Looking to thirst. You need the mats here. As jumping in is Duxie. He'll find Poe early. Low HP on the duo. Trying to get his teammate away. Trying to get the Siphon health away. As Art's going to try to spam it down through the floor. Shielding going to come back through. Duxie down to just 3 builds. Both teammates down in this one. A big fight coming outside of Mega City right now. Art in the tree. Shot on, but it's going to go for the Siphon. Duxie to grab that. Wants the materials. He's got to jump down to the tree to grab them. Has he seen Art? Not just yet. Has heard the building. Is going to opt to stick the res on his teammate. Is he the homie? He won't be. His teammate will say, just go for it. Make it happen, big man. But making it happen is Art to drop down. Big damage extended. A little more HP for Art in a better angle. The Pace duo will come out victorious. But oh no! All that work for nothing. They went to the beach. They built a sandcastle, and the big man, Chris, kicked it over.
They didn't even need to do that. They got their first place win, you know? They're beyond reach at this point. There's no other team that can catch them. And Pace, as though it looked they were finally going to make it out of Mega City. No, there's not a single team in this lobby that will let them leave this POI. And don't get me wrong, they chose the POI. This is where they like to go off the drop. But unfortunately, Pace University, throughout all 4 heats, have not made it out Mega City.
The prisoners of Mega City. You can come, but you can never leave.
And you know what that brings to question? How long were they watching that fight? How long were they just... I didn't even notice. I wasn't looking at the minimap. I was enticed by the battle. So I don't even know how long were they just waiting to take poor Pace University out.
I don't know. These guys might have just had the luckiest mid-round rotation of all time. Happened to be passing by and stop for a pit stop of better loot and some more mats.
It's sad to see for Pace. And also you got to keep in mind, it's also kind of sad for Husbasa as well, because that was another team looking to make their way, well, to try and at least get into the top 2. They're currently in the top 3, but now because they've been taken out so early, they might lose their third place spot as well. So again, that is also a big feels bad.
Yeah, I think that might be that nail in the coffin. As got Figment and Iroh an opportunity. If they can win this game, they'll push past Sap and Cut. But in order to do so, they're most definitely going to need to take this duo out. Still time with this point format. We're looking at 20 points for the top 3. But if they can get them down just before that mark, if they're the next duo to go, the door remains open for Fantasy.
A lot of opportunities still to be had, but again, what we just saw was a prime example of Crisp and Bryce just shutting down the door on every opportunity that could be had. And you know, again, Fantasy, Figment, and Iroh, they're right there. They can definitely take third place spot, as well as Medics and Plebs if they have themselves a good game. But with Crisp and Bryce still out there wreaking havoc, it is just going to be that much more difficult.
Alright, they played spoiler to Mega City. Now, they're Mr. Chill. Crisp and Bryce, nothing really to be done at the current moment, and they'll recognize, so they'll relax for just a moment's time.
They're doing
These
recon.
Yeah, these guys know all they need to do is sit back and vibe, and they're looking for a couple extra eliminations to take home with them.
Yeah, that's why they're skyrocketing up top. They keep going to the uplift again and again and again. They're trying to look out for other people's day that they can ruin. They've already ruined 2 teams, back-to-back, 3 teams even. They're literally just on the lookout to ruin anyone else's chances to have a good day. Not on their watch.
Looking for additional days to ruin. The perfect way to put that one.
And they're still on the prowl. Trying to find another team, but you know what? They're just they're gonna plant their flag here for a moment.
Got 8 players left. All still full duos. Everybody has a friend. Like to operate by the buddy system here at Campus Cup.
Things are getting a little quiet now. A little too quiet. It's the calm before the storm. And currently, the storm isn't even the one that's encroaching. The storm is Bryce and Crisp.
I'd argue they are the storm. Maybe the tornado. That's what we nicknamed this duo.
That's a good nickname, actually. I think we should stick to that for the remainder of, you know, the rest of these warm-up heats. At least, you know, they could stick all the way to the, you know, to the big money.
Oh, very much could. Very much could for these guys. Got 53 where we shrink circle 4. Be a rift for Bryce and Crisp. See what they can spot here. Still no player sighted. They've got the entire grass biome as their own.
You know what? I really don't blame the remainder of these teams either. So far, you know, they're trying to avoid Mega City like the plague, because from what they can tell, every team that goes into Mega City does not make it out. Like, you want to avoid Mega City. That is where death is. Meanwhile, who knows? Bryce could have a read on this player that's down low, this unsuspecting player, but no, Bryce is going to go the other way. I don't think they know that player is there.
What if they did? Another tornado. This time, it is Fortunate Horizons. That goes without saying. Back into redeploy. Do they spot now? I like the looks from Bryce here. Keeping hold of the circle, trying to see the rotations. Player spotted.
Moving in, wasted literally no time. And it's Iroh, once again, looks like a solo player.
Hello, Iroh. How's it going?
And again, just ruining Iroh's day because, again, this was a team that was looking to take third place.
The laser, the human laser. Bryce walking in. Iroh has been knocked. Where is your teammate? You need them more than ever, Iroh. Gonna get caught out. And they're spamming every building. Where did his teammate go? They'd like the answer. They will not find him. So Iroh will fall. Where is Iroh's teammate?
Right there. Look, Fantasy Figment right there at the very bottom. South, towards the storm. Like, why were they so separated? But I guess, you know, their hopes...
what happened?
Their hopes are still alive. Fantasy Figment is still up, so they could take third place.
You're a better man than me.
I still don't get why they were on the opposite ends of the earth. That still is beyond me. Maybe, you know what it was? Because we actually learned from production that what happened in Heat number 4 is that, unfortunately, Iroh left Fantasy Figment, you know, kind of out to the wind and left them to be eliminated when they were making their platforms up and into the storm. So maybe Fantasy is just done with Iroh. You know what? You go over there. I'm trying to survive this heat.
That could be it. Vibed a little too close to the sun. Cost their teammate a trip to the spectator screen. And, well, this time it's Iroh gone early. The one team that really had a chance to shake up the leaderboard and fight for that second place spot. And they're now playing down one player. We'll see if there's a big clutch moment. It would need to be a victory royale for Fantasy Figment as a solo player in a game with 3 other duos to try to look for some money out of warm-up number 1.
That's going to be tough because, again, like you said, this solo player, Fantasy Figment, I mean, they could still make it into the top 3, you know, and again, a podium finish is still pretty good, you know, when you're looking at it. There's a little bit of a grandeur, but with that being said, if you're trying to make it into the money, you're trying to make it to that second place finish, I wish you the best of luck because I honestly don't think it's going to happen.
Fantasy Figment is currently sitting outside his zone building a spiral staircase.
I mean, what else are you going to do?
Pleb just absolutely rolled Chris. Looking to find another and has done just that. Bryce wanted the trade. Pleb said, I'll take both. A 1v2 against the undisputed best duo in this lobby. Mr. Holdout the whole time. Pleb just showed up.
I mean, they did, you know, that's great, but I'd hate to tell you that it was too little too late. I mean, this, again, we said that this team is unreachable on the overall standings, at least for day 1 of the warm-ups, and they are. You know, they have successfully surpassed 100 points. No team can catch them, and so they go down, but they go down smiling, knowing that they are the first-place finishers here today, as now you can see Pleb and Medics on the hunt and on the prowl, trying to find even more eliminations. But if you look, they are currently in the 5th place spot, and they are pretty far from that 2nd place spot.
And like to report, Fantasy Figment is still in zone and still building the spiral staircase. One of, if not the best staircases I have ever seen, as Pleb just 1v2'd the team with 120 points is looking to take it to Sap and cut the number 2 squad. So on the top ropes is Pleb right now, sending shots down from what is the heavens in terms of height for this team.
And honestly, again, I just want to go back to Fantasy Figment here, just because what is up with their team soloing spiral staircases from outside? Look, they get noticed. They see them there.
The Sky Basers.
Yeah, and out, here comes the big call, the big dip, going right on down, shot out of the sky. But I think they survive. I think they survive.
Kinetic blade. Had the kinetic blade, so they do survive. Had the movement options. Use the blade midair to stay up. The team of Sky Basers, I like their energy. A strategy we don't see often, just how easy it is to break them out at the end of the day. Medic's very low HP off the disengage, but alive nonetheless.
maybe they're employing some type of rat strategy. You know, Fantasy Figment and Iroh, they're like, if we split up, right, we're going to be that much more harder to find. You know, they could point us out if we're together. You know, we take up more space, but if we're spread apart on 2 different ends of the map, who knows? Maybe we can get away with it. But no, you can already see Sap Games. They're giving chase, and they're trying to get this this elimination point.
If we build 2 sky bases, they can't shoot one of them down. That or the strategy of if we start the sky base from 2 different places and they only shoot one of them down, it'll still be anchored. Kind of clever. Unfortunately, didn't work out, but the logistics, the plan, I mean, the blueprinting of what was going to be the mega skybase, phenomenal.
Yeah, and, you know, it looked good on paper. But in practice, it's kind of lacking. And with that being said, you got to give credit to the homie, though. I mean, Fantasy Figment's still very much in this match, and if I'm not mistaken, yeah, they're still alive. Look at them right there on the outside ring where they have been for the majority of Heat 4.
All right, Sap Games will take a seat. The natural height has zone pull in their favor as well. Comes to Mega City. And what a poetic end to warm up number 1. You said everyone who goes to Mega City, they don't make it out. Well, no one will make it out this game. So everybody will finish in Mega City.
Now, you see, you say it's poetic and it's nice. You know what? It's not the same. I'm sorry. It's just not the same because Pace isn't here. Pace University should be here, and they're not. Because they didn't even have to escape Mega City. Actually, you know what? They technically did, because if you look at the ring, it's like right outside of the city. And it's unfortunate because Pace couldn't even make it that far.
Oh.
Sad.
We get a corner of a building in the city.
Yeah.
We can pretend. We can pretend. This team on height will certainly live in their newfound spacing. Been very lax on this fan. I'm curious about the ammo numbers from above. They're giving a lot of respect to the teams on low ground. As I say that, Sap starts to throw the extra shots in. Cut's going to get damaged through. It's a bit of damage now down onto Pleb. Decent ammo. Just looks like the SMG at range is about as good as you think it is. The Havoc is even worse than you think it is. So they can't really spam. They're in a great spot to do damage, but they just don't have the right equipment.
Yeah, and it's at this moment that, you know, I wish that, you know, Sap Games and company had like some utility, had some nades, explosives to throw down there, just to play some AC-130 simulator, you know, and just pretend that you're bombing this little fortification. But no, they got the, you know, they got the sub, they got the Havoc, and now you can see Plebs forced to move out here. Medics again applying a little cover, but they do get out of the danger, and they find themselves securely now underneath Sap Games, and it's good.
And we've pulled just a little bit closer to the city plaza here. Figment is in what might be the worst possible spot right now. This is going to be incredibly hard to rotate out of. The team was hoping they could just hang out on the top of the building. Didn't quite work out for them. Figment actually has a blade. Forgot about that coming off of the sky base. So they've got room. They've got a bit of rotation. We'll get to moving zones here. One of the first real movings we've got to see. I said everyone waited for the end of this game. There'll be Pleb and Medics on height. The duo looking to close out. They 1v2'd the top dogs. Can they take down Cut and Sap as well for a chance at the second place spot? Connect blade forward for Pleb, looking to close out on Sap. He's taking the wall. He's got the edit. Damage going to come in. Jumping back to the top ropes, though. Wasn't quite able to seal the deal. That team going to get away. Cut awkward blade is going to get to zone.
And you see, you know, we're talking about this fight right now between Pleb and It's Cut, but meanwhile, I'm sitting here wondering, where is Fantasy Fragment? Oh, there they are. They're right down low. They're right down low. The jig is up. Their spot has been exposed, and yet they're somehow still alive.
Zone pulls the other direction. Sap Games is caught by a big look from the Havoc, and Pleb taking that one away. The 1v2er against the Goats. Now continuing the pressure, trying to take Cut next on the list. Figment has fallen. It's a 2-on-2, but really a 2-on-1. One knock's already come through. Cut all the work. The second place duo will fall. to Pleb and Medics. They'll win heat number 4.
Yeah, but the question is that where do they stand on the leaderboards? They were in 5th place. They do take the number 1 spot, giving them a 25 additional points. So that's going to push them up. But you got to keep in mind, Sap Games and It's Cut, they finished in the second place. So they're still going to get a decent amount of points. So I don't think Medics and Plebs will be able to catch them. So with that being said, we're going to take a moment to, figure all these numbers, but I think it's safe to say that your number 1 spot is going to be Crisp and Bryce, and then Sap Games and It's Cut should be number 2.
Yeah, number 1 guaranteed without a doubt. It is Crisp and Bryce. Played incredible all the way through today. Mind-boggling numbers. Deserved what was warm-up number 1's victory. Sap Games and Cut, the duo out of Montclair and Akron respectively, most certainly going to take number 2.
Yep, and as we get ready here, it looks as though no, we don't have any interviews lined up. It's a sad face, but it can't be helped. And also, don't forget, tomorrow is the Patio Cup, so they got that to look for. We have that to look forward to. There's a lot going on here at EsportsU.
That there is. Patio Cup tomorrow. Be the Valorant playoffs, sponsored by Xbox. Check out that action right here on EsportsU. For Catnator and Ahsoka, we'll catch you in the next one.
Continued over the course of the last nearly 14 months now. It's an interesting term because it's been co-opted to describe the NCAA's approach to student athletes being able to make endorsement money or be able to monetize any part of their name, image, and likeness. But it's been around forever, right? We've had athletes endorsing brands for over 100 years. Babe Ruth of the New York Yankees was endorsing brands 100 years ago, and it has continued onward from baseball cards all the way through now, where we have lots of different integrations of how influencers can monetize their followings. So what I would say on the traditional side is it's still a very young space. There are a lot of stories out there regarding NIL that tend to focus on the negative or how out of control, I put in air quotes, it has gotten. But there is still a burgeoning marketplace for many more student athletes that are involved. About 17% of NCAA athletes are currently involved in NIL, but 65% more than that want to get involved and are curious how to get started. On the flip side, brands are challenged with a few different things in the space. There are 10,000 professional athletes in the United States. Once July 1st, 2021 hit, and you dump every NCAA athlete into that space, that's another 500,000. So brands that maybe didn't have a dedicated athlete strategy when there were 10,000 now have 500,000 plus that 10,000 to figure out how to activate who they are. That's a lot. I understand brands' hesitancy in some instances, but I can tell you that companies like us are on a daily basis educating brands and student athletes as to the software you can use, the types of activations you can get involved in, and how to utilize your followings, or if you don't have to or want to be a social media star, are there ways in which you can monetize it? Now, I know I described that under the umbrella of the NCAA, but I see it as being no different in esports. I think there are massive opportunities for people with followings to be able to use that and connect with brands. I think a company like us can help you to do that. And then beyond that, we can make sure that those transactions are safe for you. I think there are opportunities, not just at the individual competitor level, but at the program level to have a sponsorship go to that. I'm sure some of you out there listening and watching already have deals like that in place, but I think we can continue to enhance, augment those deals and make them more comprehensive and make them, first of all, I think product deals are perfectly fine, but I think we can get beyond that and grow some of these deals to a greater extent. Paulie, thoughts on that?
Yeah, what you said is right. So I'll put it in for layman's terms here for just the esports players, because I talk to so many of our athletes that compete in our CECC series that are currently still in college. And basically when Mike Blewett says NIL, what he's referring to is just very simple. If a brand or any sort of anyone wants to use your school's name or your brand or anything with you, there is a deal for you that can be put in place, whether it's product deal, whether it's a paid endorsement. You can, whether you're a macro influencer or whether you're a micro influencer, you can be paid for your services. So most of the people, when I talk to them, most of the, I won't say people, college athletes, they are, intimidated by the word. They don't really know what it means. They've never done anything with it before. And that's what it means. Any single time a brand or anyone at all wants to use your name or do a deal with you or do some sort of activation with you or your school, that's basically what the layman's terms, the NIL meaning comes from. And it's evolving in this space. There are so many brands that want to associate with micro and macro influencers and just get people involved with their products or their services. So all of you, collegiate athletes out there that are competing in esports, not only are we trying to broker those deals, but also keep your eyes, ears open, and don't be shy or scared to take these deals, because that's what I've heard the most, is that most of the time they're just scared to take them. They don't know what they are. They don't know if they're locking themselves into some agreement or terms that they're like going to give their name away or something too. So this is a really important space, and it's how you're all going to physically make money and build your brands along with company brands. So it's really important to learn. And my advice is to just get your feet wet. Don't worry about shying away. Read the contracts and take some of these deals, because growing your own brand is the future of what our industry is going to be, in my opinion.
Exactly. And if you follow in the pro space, you'll see that the pro teams are not only focusing on competitive play, but a lot of them are focusing on their brand and their cultural importance in the space. And so, one of the things that we do also is help athletes build their brand, build their following. And that's part of what Paulie and Kyler are doing on their side when we do this behind the scenes training.